Next cities in line, there you go. Upper bracket, NORD versus Verdant. Yeah, this is gonna be spicy. I know we're excited. Group A versus Group A. Group A is just dominating, by the way. And look at this, NORD Esports versus Verdant. We have a lot to talk about this. There you go, the music is in. I want to hear thoughts, predictions. Let me know.
Wow. Head empty. No, I'm joking.
First thing that comes to mind, right, is like all the names over on the left side. You're looking at NORD, Chachi, Santori, No Way, Xmati, Treats. All of these guys have competed. Well, I think except No Way. I don't think he has competed in like tier 1, but he was in Prime League prior. And all the other players have been in tier 1 competitions. And these are technically who are supposedly on paper up for grabs for the NLC title to go up against Los Ratones. So here, this should technically on paper be an easy, breezy, lemon squeezy match for NORD.
Huh. Okay. Hot take. Hot take.
Hit me, Jamada. Hit me,
What would
Jamada.
like to think? I mean, look, I agree. If you saw my prediction, you know where my my thoughts lie, right? For me, I look at the series and I wonder what version of Verdant we're going to end up getting, right, today. We had two very distinct versions of Verdant. I know we have a graphic ready, so I'd like to request we pull it up. It was Verdant's seeding stage, right, in Group A, a very rough journey versus their previous series. It was pretty night and day, the two versions of Verdant that we got. I'll see. I'm not sure if we have it on demand. We do. Okay, awesome. Yeah. The stats kind of just speak for themselves. The only thing that was definitely a little bit different was, Verdant in their seeding stage, it was strange because they actually ended up with more gold leads early on, but they squandered so many mid games that they ended up with that final record of 1-3 going into tiebreakers, right? Whereas the Verdant that we got in their previous series, it felt a little bit more consistent through and through, right? Despite having perhaps a slightly less dominant early game, their objective control was a lot better around the Dragons. Overall, they were generating gold a little bit faster than they were in the seeding stage too. And yeah, you can tell by the KD that they were generally just winning more fights, right? That's how KD tends to work. It was a night and day situation. Yes, Group A overall was a lot harder, and you can definitely argue, especially now that we've seen a lot of the Group A versus Group B matchups in that opening round, that, yeah, Group A was probably just objectively the stronger group, right? But how they took apart Rich Gang was very, very impressive, and it does make me wonder if that is the level of consistency that we get today that will actually provide us with a very close and contentious series against the NORD, who have looked relatively infallible outside of their Los Ratones game, right? Which was the first game of the split.
I feel like what I really enjoy when I'm watching Verdant is sort of the versatility, the carries that sort of keep getting spread around the map. You've got top carry if you want to go towards Rumble. You've got Kalista Renata over in the top lane. You've got Zara in the jungle. Mid lane can be carry as well. I feel like that sort of versatility in general, in terms of who's the focal point for the team each time, could be a big key winner right here, because we have a lot of teams over in the NLC where you've got like the AD carry that's the focal point, or the mid lane that's the focal point. It's just very easy to choke over in the draft. But right here, Verdant, I feel like they've got a pretty good case of being able to flex that around the map.
Champion select for the first game. Keep in mind, it's a best of 3. We're still on the upper bracket. We're still not on the final game of the upper bracket before we meet the finalists. So that's going to be a best out of 3. Skarner's still getting some attention, even though Jamada told us, like, yeah, there's a patch. Yeah, it was tweaked. So yeah, keep that in mind. But still getting a lot of attention. Also because there's a concern because of that Skarner. Vi getting a lot of priority recently. The Corki and the Jace, the usual. Where's the Kalista? Where do you at?
Kalista, Cassante, these picks. Cassante completely unpicked in series number 1. There's the Kalista ban away, so not willing to trade that one over. So Ezreal, Varus still up and available. Cassante still there as well as the kind of premier lane swap pick for most teams, and also just kind of a very safe blind, right? The Jace has been banned away. The Ambessa is kind of the other answer into it, which sometimes does stray teams away from wanting to first pick that Cassante, which does make a lot of sense. The Rumble is gone.
Hey,
so
come on, man.
Now NORD. Plenty of picks up and available.
If there's
Wukong as well.
One guy that doesn't care about Cassante, it's Chachi. He plays Poppy.
Yeah, that's true.
he'll be fine, right? So they can prioritize other things right here. I feel like Aurora has been one of the picks that is not necessarily looked at too much. Mel has skipped through the bans here as well. Potentially no way. We have seen it in the bot lane. I feel like Xmati was a goodie but an oldie Seraphine enjoyer down the bot lane as well. So we could potentially see the Mel swapperoo over to Xmati's hands.
All right. Well, look, I'm not sold on Mel. Strong champ, get it. Dominated solo queue, hilarious. Pro play's it's a different ball game, man. And I think that again, a champion like Mel can be drafted around. I like this response from Verdant. Safe lane swap champion. Cassante is very, very consistent. We know what he does. Zyra also a pick that hasn't really been super heavily prioritized here in the NLC, but around the world typically gets prioritized a little bit higher as kind of the first in line AP jungle option. So now for Santorin, you know, if he's going to go towards something like a Wukong for the team fighting aspect and kind of the early skirmishing, it's not necessarily going to be as potent just because, you know, things like the passive, the one-to-one is going to be a little bit hard to play around for him. Varus locked in. We could just see a Rel alongside it, or again, that Santorin option of locking in a jungler here to go 1-for-1 with what Verdant are showing.
Ah, there it is, of course. This is why I said it. Chachi doesn't care if you get your hands on Cassante. Not only is Poppy a great neutralizer into Cassante, it's Chachi's Poppy. So he gets extra points for being one of his best champions, something that he's known for. I'm actually excited about this because I feel like even though people are like, yeah, Poppy can go even with Cassante, I wonder what Chachi's Poppy can do versus something like a Cassante. And now I'm starting to get a little bit worried because you're actually going to need some point-and-click CC to reach the Ezreal. Things like the Vi has been taken away. Maokai, Nautilus, these are usually the two picks that you pick into all those kind of slippery champions so you can reach towards the backline.
There are the few options getting scarce at the moment, and now the focus is going towards the jungle. The Shinzao is the first. We still have the Wukong, that's such a big priority. But I don't know if Verdant is going to let that one slide. There could be a way to go into the backline and be annoying.
Yeah, if you ban Zin's out, I guess with the way that some of the other bans have kind of laid out, Wukong is it's kind of a sore thumb, like it's poking out, you know? I would expect that one to be what Verdant ban away, but I've seen stranger things for sure. Leona gone, I expect also something like the... I was gonna say the Rel, but when you've got Poppy, you might feel a little bit happier leaving it on the table. They ban away the Viego as opposed to that Wukong. So we will see where NORD decide to go. But I think right now, what you can see on Verdant's composition is a lot of self-peel between the Zyra, between Ezreal. Cassante as well is very great at providing a lot of space, whereas NORD, a lot more poke between the Mel and between of course the Varus, right? I think into this kind of composition we're probably going to end up seeing Matty piloting this as poke Varus. I'll be very surprised if this ends up being on hit. Yone removed away, of course. With the Zyra you do typically want an AD option out of that mid lane, and with the Yone gone, the majority of the very good ones kind of not left on the table. So something like a mage alongside that Zyra might have to come through. It's not the worst in the world, but it does potentially heighten up some of that value of Merc treads on the opposite end for some of the frontliners potentially.
I feel like Verdant have built themselves a team that likes to play from distance, and they've got a lot of spacing tools as well with the Zyra and the Victor. However, they have no go button. Cassante cannot necessarily be your go button. He can be your front line, but he can engage for you. So I feel like Verdant are going to have a little bit of a trouble when it comes to this, and they have actually not gone for something like the Nautilus because the Braum could come through. So now I feel like here NORD, they can lock something like the Maokai and the Nautilus, or both at once, to be able to pin down champions like the Ezreal who's slippery over in the backline. I mean, anything right here, even Maokai can go down the bot lane together with the Varus. We have seen this combo before. If that gets locked in from Santorin, I absolutely love this. This is something that Kanavi would do when you see so many squishy targets in an enemy team and you pick that Kha'Zix when you've got a pretty solid 4-man. Kanavi would be so proud, one of the best Kha'Zixes in the world. It just works here because the 3 members in the backline, they don't have any protection for themselves.
Yeah, I think
please don't pick another squishy champ.
I think what's nice about this Kha'Zix really is that it has a lot of versatility in what it can also build, right? It can kind of go into that weird bruiser build, it can go into the full lethality build. If it gets going, we know what fed Kha'Zix. Like, Kha'Zix has remained pretty much the same throughout the entirety of League of Legends. You get caught in isolation as a squishy champion, you're just going to get queued twice and you will die in about one rotation, basically. So, between that and the W evolve, honestly, if NORD can find the space to get this Kha'Zix pick out of the gates, a lot of room to be very, very frustrating and make this game so difficult, because who face checks beside Cassante on this lineup from Verdant?
However, I feel like Verdant have a lot of priorities through their lanes. Ezreal plus Karma, so much poke. They can very easily get priority through the lane. Victor as well, 1 or 2 mana items, and he's good to go. So if they can allow that Zyra to freely farm the early to mid game and start like the Zonias is coming through and some extra armor for the Kha'Zix, then potentially we could be talking about the shields from the Karma coming through and a little bit of armor to survive the Kha'Zix. However, I'm such a big fan of Kha'Zix because I'm a big fan of Kanavi, and I feel like here is just cherry on top. Poke coming through the Mel, poke coming through the Varus as well. Kha'Zix jumps the backline, gets that first reset.
Well, we're about to jump into the first game, so after the champion select, I just need a name, and Jamal, I want to start with you because it's always trouble.
I'll go ahead and say NORD.
Okay, trouble.
NORD.
NORD, there you go. 2-0 for the Casas, but will we get a 2-0 in the game in favor of NORD, or maybe a bug splat? I'll see you soon after this break.
Welcome back, dear NLC viewers. We are into game for our second series of the day, NORD versus Verdant. Second of our heavyweight teams going up against the upstarts of Verdant, who kind of, as we were talking about on the desk, had a bit of a weird old group stage to fight their way in here through a tiebreaker scenario, and now here with a pretty interesting set of matchups. We've got ourselves a big poke disengage comp from Verdant with your Zyras and Varuses and Ezreal Karmas trying to play for lane power and get your objectives first. And on the other side, NORD, a lot of pick CC, a lot of burst Santorin on a Kha'Zix, something of a pocket pick for him, and Chachi on his infamous Poppy. Of course, back in the day, it was in fact old Poppy, pre-rework Poppy, which he was doing, which was a very different champion in the day. Even she did still have that ability to go diving on in and do some silly things with damage reduction. But that was a very different champion back in the day.
It was a fun champion, and those were the fun times for the old Poppy. New Poppy is still a very interesting one, and it's really heartwarming to see that Vizichachi is still playing that Poppy. But here in this game, we are going apparently to have another bloodthirsty game, honestly, especially like everywhere you look right now. So what do we have? For NORD, this is a composition that is pretty straightforward outside of that bug in the jungle, I would say. Santorin is definitely adding spice to this, otherwise pretty straightforward composition. Yeah, we have a lot of poke. Yeah, we want to be fighting around our big ultimates because they provide a lot of control and a lot of possibilities to just rotate around the objectives if we want to. For Verdant, however, this is where things are worrying me a lot, especially now with Puppeteer potentially going down.
Oof. That's just enough to get a hold of that wave, and we're seeing both top lanes being attacked somewhat into at least access to some of the wave. Puppeteer does get to the level 2, which is one of those breakpoints for your top laners. Where are our junglers right now? It seems to be just farming, not looking for the early dives or splitting the map such as it is, which we sometimes see when you do look for those lane swaps. And it does look like NORD were the ones who executed on that, set that one up. Trying to get out of the Ezreal Karma lane, as we are going to get to a quick pause when we know why that is. We'll let you know, but we are going to pull out and say hello to us instead. Hello, Solari.
Hello.
Good to see your face.
Good to see your face too. How are you doing today, Nishlace?
I'm doing really well. I'm having a good time. Got double series today. I could see Lost Returners and Nords, which is great news. I also get to see whether Verdant can maybe pull another upset out, because it feels like a few times in the NLC this year, we've gone up, this should be a foregone conclusion, this team's just going to be better, and then we come to the day and someone just makes us look a little bit silly by upsetting pretty heavily. Happened with Ruddy Sack, happened with Rich Gang, we saw it in the tiebreaker scenarios. Like, we've had a few of those ones. Chaos winning the other day, you know, like, does feel like our foregone conclusions aren't always foregone conclusions.
Kinda, yeah. But in this game, honestly, it's talking about the conclusions and the predictions. I think if I were just to look at the draft, because the game hasn't even, fully started yet, we're just looking at a little bit of fist fighting here and there. Just looking at the draft, I have so many worries for Verdant. Way too many, I would say, which makes me kind of go the same way as the desk did and say that I think NORD should be winning this game and it shouldn't be a hard game for them. Because for Verdant, yes, you have a lot of poke, you have a lot of AP damage, you have protection from Karma as well, but nothing of it is going to matter when there is a Kha'Zix on your backline, because Zyra and Ezreal, but especially Zyra, I would say, there is one thing they hate the most, and that is a sneaky assassin in their backline that they cannot control in time, and especially when they cannot see that assassin in time because it jumps onto them
it's very
from
hard
the
to get an
bushes.
army off.
He's very hard to catch, he's very hard to see, he's very hard to predict, and that is everything that Zyra, for example, hates with passion. This bug for Centaurian, if he plays it correctly, is going to be the arch nemesis for Verdant's team composition. And apart from that, we are going back into the game.
As a quick note, the reason it happened is because a player needs a sippy cup, clearly, because they spilled water on their desk.
Again, the Jack Troll incident.
Yeah, it was Sven Scarin before that, over when he was playing for Cloud9, literally got to the point where league officials literally gave him, sippy cup top so he'd stop spilling water. Way back in the day. Well, Santorin would have been playing against him at that point. Long-time Team Liquid jungler, of course, been all over the place. TSM as well. This is a man who's played on some very high-profile teams over the year across multiple different regions. And on the Kha'Zix this time around, no stranger to the champion. Played it something like 24 odd times. If I remember the stats off the top of my head. It's shoved towards the leaping Kha'Zix and tastes the fear for first blood, which you love to see if you're the Kha'Zix player. More gold on first back.
Yes, you love seeing that when you're a Kha'Zix. You love seeing the enemy top lane being shoved right into you, so you get the first kill, you get closer and faster to your evolutions. It's so good, but no way.
Ooh, flash. Nice return fire with the rebuttal. No way, trying to run away. Can't quite do that one, but another leap on in! Ronaldo trying to stay alive. Going to stay in range of No Name for a moment or two, but unfortunately, the bug is swiftly evolving into something that you're going to need a bit more than Raid to deal with.
Yeah, imagine when this bug is evolved, with this evolved Q, with this evolved E. Oh my god, he's gonna be able to jump so far and throw in those nasty... I don't even know what exactly throws at the enemies, but you don't want to be the target of that because it's gonna hurt, it's gonna sting quite literally. 2-0-0 already with the Dirk, with a sword, with a control ward. This bug is starting to be very worrisome, and even before those 2 kills, I said, hey, I think this is gonna be a problem for Verdant. Now I'm saying, hey, this is gonna be a big problem for Verdant unless they do something with him or unless they find somebody to accelerate.
Jump on forwards, no W's by Chachi till now, trying to run away, throws down a hammer shock, trying to buy some time, flash on out, stays alive, the Q hits. There's just enough healing there to keep Chachi up and around, had the back interrupted and cost him a little bit. Nice reflect on the death ray, but Preet's behind will prevent any more action happening. A second Mel of the day. First one looked pretty good for moments. 4K min, ended up, as we said, getting a number of kills, but couldn't convert that. A fumble play bot lane. With a Maokai support, actually, looking back. Couldn't quite pick off side of Nemesis' Syndra and started that comeback for the Syndra that became an additional threat for Lost Returners, who really did just break that last series over their knee. It was not close.
We got less than 40 seconds before the first hit of the grabbies right now. We already have the Dragon, of course, but with the top laners being on the bot lane, not really much to do with the Dragon yet. I'm looking at NORD, and I believe NORD are looking at these grabbies. They have their bot lane on the top lane right now. Kha'Zix has been clearing from bot 2, top side of the map. He's already there, finishing his clear. Gonna go towards the grabbies, get the first hit of them, which leaves Verdant to either find an answer there, which is very unlikely, or try to do something on the bot lane because Zyra is there, the bot lane is there, so it looks like it's gonna be a classic exchange of objectives and maybe visit Chachi on top.
Chachi runs away again, throws up a bit of time, but they're going to throw and burn the heal to get in range for the W. The renewal buys some time. Hammer Shock is decent, shove into the wall, gets the buckler shield, trying to back away. Does get out to safety, can't secure it. All the while, Grub's taken on the other side. As we're seeing the initial one taken through, that's the picture in picture. Kha'Zix does deal with those, not going to be doing that much there. Not sure what the first evolve was from the Kha'Zix. Looks like it was the claws, so Taste the Fear will allow Kha'Zix to clear out those neutral objectives that little bit faster.
And you need that when you're jungling against Zyra, because Zyra is notorious for being able to take those objectives, first of all, without much help from her teammates, as you just saw her soloing that dragon, and second of all, doing that rather quickly thanks to all the plants she's able to grow, especially if she's allowed to get to an objective in advance. I don't think, yeah, that's the jump you take when you're not sure what the enemy bug is, and you are Zyra.
Troll will put down, no name. Was around, has gone towards the haunting guys first, rather than anything like a Leandro. It's a little bit more of a burn. Stayed out on the map that little bit longer. More in-combat damage, even if the burn's not there to clear out the minions, but still doing well enough in this early game. Little unfortunate that mid lane play ended up going in the 1-for-1. NORD find themselves up a nominal amount of gold, not a huge amount. It's there and about, and importantly, a lot of it is into the back pocket of this Kha'Zix, who is building towards some lethality early on here. Probably a Ghost Blade if I had to guess.
Probably yes. You want that additional movement speed. You want to be able to relocate yourself in the fights to get to that sneaky backlane of Verdant. I mean, it's not very sneaky, to be honest. Both Ronaldo and Nonlane don't really have any ways to get away from Santorin if he jumps on them. Ezreal has a better fighting chance here, but still not too much. If that assassin has already locked onto you, you're likely not getting out of it. Question mark to Puppeteer. Will he be able to, if they decide to pull the trigger for a tower dive?
Well, NORD go on the infade. No name needs to be aware. The leap forward flash for the taste. Their fear goes on a void assault. Looking to get the last Q. Turret shots coming on through and the turnaround. The spines make it a 1-for-1.
Oh, that hurt. That hurts. You can't really engage onto Zyra straightforward, especially when she has the ultimate available, because she's gonna root you down, she's going to throw the ulti, and you can't really find any opening on her anymore. This is going to change most likely when Santorin gets more items. Already has just gotten his Yomo into his pockets. I should feel a little bit better right now about going onto the enemies like that, but it's always risky when Zyra knows that you're engaging on her.
Twisted advance back. This Puppeteer doesn't have the moment to really pull the trigger. He's gone for the ghost in this matchup rather than a flash and uses it to escape. The damage was beginning to come on through. Note Matty, gone for a heal and the Comet will be the poke build. Personal safety. You don't see that many AD carries go for heal these days, interestingly. Often on the supports these days. No name. Looking for a turnaround. Treats. Flashing away there. It's a wave from Puppeteer is looking for a Pathmaker combo into a Q3.
And we have things slowing down a little bit for the time being. We have the lanes from the side of NORD pretty much on their respective places, but we are looking at Santorin already on the top part of the map. We have a minute before the next set of grabbies is gonna spawn. NORD would really like to get this one. They can send Vizichachi to the side lanes very easily to just constantly have control over them. They can push rather quickly with Xmari and Nowhere as well, so that would be a really nice objective for NORD to secure. But Verdant's bot lane is already on the top. Verdant has Zyra in the top part of the map. And she's going to have the ultimate, most importantly, when the grabs are going to be up, if my math is correct. So that makes things much more complicated for NORD if they want to fight here.
Eyes on. Santorin jumps over the wall onto Obstinatus, who is going to be in range for a little bit more of that isolation damage. Santorin went into the Void Assault. Treats went looking, couldn't quite find it. Flash out from Obstinatus, down to half HP, but Santorin burns the ult. So did Treats. That could be a little problematic if they do want to fight around these grubs. They have the lane priority, but no name is around. Karma can go for quite a lot of value from a relatively safe distance here. Especially now some of these engage tools are down for the count in NORD's disfavor.
If you burn a Maokai ultimate before a big objective starts, you gotta go for a kill confirmed. Otherwise, it's a burned big ultimate. Can NORD even do something here now? They can certainly try.
Radiant Volley, the rebuttal comes on through, trying to ensure there wasn't that much room as the gravity field comes on down. The other thing is Verdant, not the easiest engage, decent disengage, flash on forward from Nome, trying to get some value with the ultimate, gets one of the grubs at the very least. And Treats taken down about 10% HP. Not having a great time, and now Verdant are the ones in command of the river, and they have to make their way through to NORD. That giant amount of zone control, the plants, the gravity fields, the saplings. Grub number 2 secured, Santorin goes on in, gets that fourth one for the side of NORD. Tries to get the execute with the golden eclipse. Can't quite find it.
Sneaky, sneaky little bug jumps in, smites, jumps out. Hey, it works! They got the full grubbies, so somehow they get out of it victorious because they allowed Verdant to get into the river. And if Verdant, with their team composition, are controlling the plays of potential fight with the ultimates from Zyra, even without the ultimate, honestly, with just the plants, with the victor around, it's so easy for them to keep this control,
Ronaldo.
not let NORD go in.
Traits comes walking on forwards, gets a twisted advance, looks for the Bramble smash out. Ronaldo gonna start trying to run away. There's no way down at 10% HP, and he just stands and delivers.
He gets out. He still lives. That's what matters. He's 0-1-1, but he has been farming up. He already sitting on the 1 item, so it doesn't look too bad for NORD here either. Now, what else can NORD do right now to try to secure the lead? Because they have a tiniest possible gold lead right now. Tiny kill lead, tiny lead on the map in general. I am looking back at this bug, to be honest. I'm looking at Santorin. It's time to do something else. It's time to get even more ahead than you were before, because this bug needs to be able to kill
Jumps
the
on the
back lane.
3-3 Ronaldo! That's him, can't quite secure the kill and has to run away. Santorin not quite enough damage to kill off the victor. No way. Looking for the Solar Snare, can't quite find it.
He has
get
to
them the
kill
dragon,
the
though.
back lane. It's not jump into the back lane, deal insane amount of damage, but not get anybody and then struggle to get out, because you will struggle to get out later in the game if you jump like that and not secure anything. Santorin's idea here is to jump in, you secure at least a kill, because that most likely is going to guarantee your way out, should it even be needed. Right now, yeah, we see a little bit of problem. He needs much more damage than he possesses right now, but hey, at least they got a dragon.
Here we
First
go.
dragon of the game for NORD.
Ult comes across from Treat, roots up 2. For a bit of damage there from X-Mad, he can't quite find it, and no real follow-up. That ult lead to all that much. The retreat away from a turret. Still force Mishi and Obstinatus to reset. With a bit more time for this Varus to take away. A couple more plates, get a little bit more of a gold advantage. The Ghost Blade completed for this Varus too. The mid-game spike from NORD will be pretty huge here with the lethality items coming on in for Matty and Santorin in particular. Decent rebuttal there, buys some time, but a knock-up with the Strangle Thorns. Not going to be followed up that much. Turret will fall and the teleport does complete for Papatiro. Not sure whether he really wanted that. Gets to run away and stay alive at the very least.
Papatiro gets to stay alive, but the turret in the bot lane doesn't, unfortunately. This means that the feats have been secured for NORD with his turret in the bot lane, thanks to Xmad and thanks to the ultimate from Fritz a little bit earlier that forced the bot lane of Verdant to recall and leave this turret completely left for taking for NORD. They have a little bit more control of the bot part of the map right now with that. Can they do something about it? There's still a lot of time before the next projects are going to appear. We have 2 minutes before the Herald. And Verdant, in the meantime, are not wasting any time. Nobody is paying attention to this turret on the mid lane from the side of NORD, and Verdant are very happy to take that one.
And this is a game that's remaining very, very even. They get another turret, and that'll be Verdant with a gold lead, as you see. And you do scale exceptionally well this game. Zyra,
Yes.
Victor, Ezreal, backed up by the Karma to keep them safe. The Cassante is frontline. That is a lot of work, and you're looking on the side for NORD. They're going to spike in this mid game, and right now, the mid game is dead even. That's not what you want to see as a NORD fan, and you compare that to Los Returnus last game, who frankly spanked Bulldogs. It was not close. They were taken for walkies and taken apart. They'll be and that's who you're going up against. You want to be seeing more from a team like NORD, who were supposed to be a team that could match them in caliber. You're looking at players like Chachi, like Santorin, like Treats, who have been playing at a very, very high level. You're looking at Xmati, who's been one of the best players in ERLs for years and years and years. Was part of that initial startup run for Carmine Core, really, when they got a lot of strength. This is more like it. The Pathmaker denied by the Steadfast presence. Santorin donated the kill. Third one for the Kha'Zix, who is going to be asked to be a consistent threat to consider for Verdant. The moment we ask for a little bit more, they deliver.
We did ask for a little bit more, and they did deliver. 2 out of those 3 kills, by the way, on Santorin are from Papatiro, which is rather interesting to see. But NORD are not wasting any time. Look at that. They found a kill on the bot lane. Now, because of that, they were able, thanks to Xmari, to take the turret on the bot, the inner turret, sorry, on the bot lane. They have opened up the bot part of the map massively for themselves, with the top lane still having both the outer turret. I am expecting NORD to put a lot of emphasis onto the upcoming Drakes from now on. We still have 2 minutes before the Cloud Drake is going to spawn, because we're having a Cloud Zone this game, and honestly, this is so lucky for NORD. It is hard to imagine a better soul for Centaurans Kha'Zix, for example, because this is exactly what you need if you want to jump into the enemies, kill somebody, maybe get out, or maybe go for another kill, because the additional movement speed after you pop the ultimate is exactly what he wants.
Loving the second item from Santorin. Gone towards the Serpent's Fang to manage the Karma shields and the Q shield on the Victor. Verdant, though, in the river first here, and that's where they want to be. Their composition thrives when you're forced to come into them in the Garden of Plants, gravity fields, and all the rest of it there. So great when they have to be the ones on the engage. They got a lot of damage, not a lot of CC. Verdant, there's a team we ought to talk about a little bit more, because they have been in the NLC for a long, long time at this point. Bulldog, earlier on, were here. The UK scene, then backed away, then rejoined again recently. But Verdant, been here a few years now, have been NLC champions, have been trying to continue that legacy of strength here. And they are with players that, in another era of the NLC, would be so excellent. But they're going up against some huge names, and they want to prove that they're not just here to drop down to the loser bracket, that they can really contest with teams like NORD, that they really can be one of the best ones going out there. Hold on to this mid lane turret. Remaining close in gold, and that's got to be good news here. The question will be, when we come to these later game objective fights, whether they can be there first. Holding on to things like that tier 1 early on will matter. Flash away from No Way as a flash on forwards from Obstinate to try and get the W down. Summon a burn, not too much more.
And we got a dragon spawning up just a little bit more than 10 seconds from now, and Verdant are nowhere close to it. They don't have anybody except for Puppeteer, who's doing exactly that right now, to face check for them and to go into the unwarded territory. Anybody else risks dying on spot, which makes things really complicated for Verdant. Ronaldo!
On the picture-in-picture, Santorin trading up. Ronaldo flashes away. Platform retreats. Secures the kill on the Victor. What's happening in the mid lane, though? We'll have to keep an eye on that. The man advantage currently there for NORD, but Santorin pretty damn low. Verdant back away, having lost that critical mid laner.
Yeah, you cannot go and fight for the dragon anymore. You give it up. It's just a second dragon for NORD. You can probably lick up your wounds a little bit after that. But you can't just be walking through the jungle. Imagine the amount of wards that Verdant need to have right now everywhere to make sure they're not accidentally walking right into Santorin's loving hands.
We go again.
Close or whatever he has.
Tira looking for the angle in here with the Ghost, trying to get on top of Chachi. So steadfast presence and whirls up the Keeper's Verdict, won't have it land. Flash is burned from multiple members of NORD, but they still got that tier 1 in mid lane. Finally feeling a bit more in command of this game. There is a second dragon. There is a bit of a gold lead. Verdant's life gets that little bit harder now. In terms of getting into the river, remaining control. They are so required to do with this comp.
And it's not just the dragon we're talking about in terms of Verdant trying to find their pathing onto the river when it comes to objectives, because Otacon is also going to spawn very soon on the both part of the map, where NORD currently have complete control of.
Oh, Santorin.
Obstinate. I would not do that!
Oh, the damage is foul. Gets a bit of a healing. The W is not there. Karma's Fear tastes delicious. Santorin is 4-1 and 2.
Oh my god, that's exactly what NORD would like to see from their jungler right now.
Yeah.
That is exactly why Verdant cannot just walk through the map anymore. They gotta stick to the path that they have already warded for themselves. They gotta stick to themselves and to Puppeteer and count on Puppeteer to be their eyes whenever they try to walk into somewhere where they're not sure about Santorin's whereabouts. Otacon is spawning in just 10 seconds from now. NORD are not eager to take it up right now, but the thing is, it's open for them. With how much control they have in this part of the map, if they want to go for it, they will be able to do it, and Verdant might be too late to react to that.
Now looking at a point as well where, with all of these turrets falling, they've lost a tier 2 in bot, they've lost the tier 1 in mid. That blue side jungle in particular is so hard to defend. And you saw what was happening there. Obstinate was in there trying to clear away wards. Santorin was waiting with a Ghost Blade and a leap. And it was a very dead Karma who shields me nothing in the face of a Serpent's Fang. Treats, throws down the ultimate. Chachi knocks one away, leaves Ronaldo to dry as a piercing arrow finds a spot. Getting ready to trouble to Nottingham, are you, Matty? Landing a few Robin Hood type arrows. No Name claims another, executes him with the searing brilliance. Reflects with a no-you, that rebuttal doing some work. Another Bit of CC and the piercing arrows continue to fly. A triple to No Name as he might look for another one. Tries to go for a solar snare over the wall. Won't quite find it. It's Chachi! Just about survives. Don't know what HP he was on, but I don't think it could be a lot.
100 and something. Yeah, just a tiny little bit of it left. But Vizi Chachi, the man you are, the Poppy main you are, he threw out of the fight not just anybody, he threw Obstinatos out of the fight the moment it started. And with everybody from Verdant being forced to fight so up close with NORD, they absolutely need to rely on the shielding from Karma. With her not being there, because she's, well, half the map away from everybody else, how does the backline of Verdant survive? The answer is very simply, it doesn't. It goes down one after another.
Ronaldo is hit with a solar snare, into a nature's grasp, into the chains of corruption, and is dead. Second solar snare comes up, and Mishi on the Ezreal has flash, but no cleanse, gets hit by the second and dies. We go back to live, and No Way on a rampage. Remember when he was being forced off the tier 1s early in lane? Not anymore.
Not anymore. He's feeling so much better in this game all of a sudden, pretty much. We got an objective, question mark? Oh, we have the withdrawals on NORD. Yes, right. So
yeah, they picked
right after they took the fight on the mid lane, they rotated obviously to Otacon because 4 out of 5 of Verdant's side are dead. They take Otacon, and now they can do whatever they want. They can do a little silly things, a little mischief on the map because they will not be judged for that and they will not be punished. Namely, they want to open up this top lane because so far this is the last line of defense for Verdant. They have 2 turrets there, but this will not stand for long. They are going down.
Santorin, understandably, upgrades the Void Spike second. Kind of obligated on Kha'Zix. The slow is so useful, allows you to play the game as more than just I jump in and kill you bot. Very valuable in pro play, obviously. And now Verdant, how on earth do you retake control of your jungle when you've got all of these people waiting to pick you up? There's so much CC, so much burst at this stage in the game. Do a lot of damage back. Chachi knocks 2 away. Does actually get pretty low here. The turret's doing a fair amount of work, but of course, with the withdrawal, will be swift to return to play and can play that little bit extra aggressive. Doesn't get much value onto the turret nonetheless, as No Way, while all of that shenaniganery is happening in the top lane, picks up the tier 2 in mid.
So that's such good news for NORD. They couldn't unfortunately finish the inner turret on the top lane just because they didn't have the wave with them and they didn't have Vision Charger either. So they take the turret on the mid lane. Now they can rotate to the bot part of the map. Santorin is already there. The dragon is coming up in 10 seconds. That is going to be a soul point for NORD. And they still have the majority of withdrawals on them should there even be a fight. Which means for Verdant right now, you just don't take fight like that. You give up the soul point. You can't fight for it. You're too far behind and you don't know where Santorin is.
What is it? Dragon's spawning.
You don't know where they are!
Oh, that's so difficult. You can't get the room first, but they're going to at least keep one alive for now. The plant's immediately deleted by a solar snare. Don't get to exist at this point, even with the Bloodletter's curse and stuff, trying to give a little bit of value to that AP pen. Double control ward. Swiftly going to be removed. How do you break into this? You've got 2 items on your Victor, on your Ezreal. Maybe, just maybe that buys something, but the dragon's going to fall. It's Soul Point and Verdant forced into unwilling Safari League of Legends. They wanted to come and play, but they weren't allowed to interact with the wildlife.
No, they can only look at it respectfully from very far away. No Name is not even allowed to look at it. He was not allowed anywhere close to the dragon. No, you! Says No Way.
Oh, rebuttal is so silly. Flash on force, the Soul Snare is good. Tries to get the execute. Massive shutdown. They get that one. We've got 20 seconds on Baron. No will be dead for 40. Can they use the man advantage to get something out of this? Because if all this turns into is a little bit of farming, then Verdant will be in dire straits. This game is tricky as it stands. You've got to use this advantage to get something.
You gotta try to do at least something on the map right now, and honestly, you can't give up the Baron. You can't. Oh, I am not.
Colors?
I am seeing stuff. Colors are pretty, but that's a little bit too many of them, to be fair. But hey, I'm seeing the Baron right now. It has spawned already. It is for NORD taking and Tornil's already around 10 seconds on No Way until he's going to respawn, but honestly, not have all of their ultimates available. And those are really good ultimates when it comes to fighting for the spot around the big objective, especially looking at Treat's Maokai's ultimate. Not really pulling the trigger yet, so probably just waiting until No Way rejoins them, and then we see what they decide to do.
Look, you're going to rely on someone to try and carry from this position for Verdant. Someone like Mishigu. Now, of course, Mishi on the Ezreal makes sense. Last series, of course, turned himself into a techno legend, the 808 drum. scoreline as well was absolutely monstrous on that Ezreal, alongside Ronaldo having a pretty good Orianna game into, of course, Rich Gang at the time. Difficult scenario, and again, this comp works just fine. You're the ones which NORD have to engage onto. Not that NORD don't have tools to do that. It's a lot harder when you're the ones that have to face check, when you're the ones have to break in and try and engage with very limited CC options.
Very limited options. But look at that. Verdant are at the river already. They're going to secure the Scuttle Crab. That's actually pretty big. That is the vision that NORD cannot remove. That is a guaranteed vision for Verdant around the objective. Should NORD decide to pull the trigger on it, it gives them a little bit more time to decide what they want to do. Do they want to take a fight, which is still gonna be very risky, but they have ultimate as well to work around.
See, look on the flank, on your mini-map, there is Vizicachi and Santorin on the Kha'Zix, looking to wrap around in the red side jungle. The Scuttle Crab, because it's been powered by all of that void energy, was able to help Verdant clear out a lot of the wards. But goes Santorin in the backline! Chunk onto no name, not enough, wasn't isolated. Another void assault into the W, buys some space. The bold void spikes do a lot of work as Chachi's there, and Verdant doing a decent job of holding the line for now. The transcription and the Papitero lose about a half the HP. NORD do force their way into the river. Mishi steps on forward, shield on top, but doesn't do all that much work at this point into Poppy until something like a Cyrilda's can be bought. Papitero still trying to frontline, gets charged into a wall, and Kazante is no longer huge knockup, and Verdant are looking a little bit shy of some leaves. A double kill to Santorin. Bugs eat plants, don't you know? Mishi hops away, but there's nowhere to go, and Santorin picks up a triple, baby.
And Ronaldo is just there on the bot lane, looking at what happened at his teammates, looking at knowing that Baron is next on the menu. Even if you kill Vizicachi right now, doesn't change anything. Not getting the Baron right now, my brother. Everybody else on your team is dead for 20 more seconds. I don't know if it changes anything at all. No ways here. Oh my god, they took that very personal. It's an ace. It's a Baron for NORD. And hey, NORD did try to brute force their way onto the river. Didn't exactly work out. So what they did is they waited a little bit. They divided Verdant and they conquered them, because it's so much easier to deal with them when you can throw control not at 5 people, or at least try to throw control at 5 people, but take them out one after another. Look at that. That's really dangerous for NORD to walk into the enemies like that when they're at the river. But the moment they step into the jungle, you know it's going to be so much easier for you to go onto them, catch them in this small enclosed space, and then take them down.
It is always a joy to watch players like Vizicachi on classic champions of theirs like Poppy. Santorin has always had the Kha'Zix in the back pocket and is popping off this game. 3 items, 3.5 items. Now got the Maw of Malmortius to make him a lot harder to pick off when you've got the Karma, the Victor, the Zyra to consider. Their job's a lot harder dealing with this very, very scary book, looking more and more like an alien movie. Just your run-of-the-mill spider in the jungle. I'm not sure what Kha'Zix count as. Is it a praying mantis thing?
He's a thing. I think we can stop at that.
Well, pick up another dragon. No way that Verdant gets to come over to contest that. More Cloud Dragons. You know what? A Poppy and a Kha'Zix with Ghostblade really love move speed.
Move speed. That's exactly what they need. To be able to hop between the enemies quickly enough, to reposition yourself, to jump onto them a little bit quicker. Yes, that's exactly the salt for NORD. They got so lucky with that. But it's not just luck, it's also them playing their cards correctly around the both side of the map, making sure they secure the access to the dragons as early as possible. And now they are finally having the fruits of their labor earlier in the game. They're taking this dragon, it's gonna be the soul. They are sieging the base. It looks so good for NORD all of a sudden.
Cloud Soul secured, Chains of Corruption not thrown out, just Papatera hitting the W. Pathmaker used, and damage still comes on top. Chachi, though, with the Baron empowered minions, is able to take out that mid lane tier 3. Inhibitor now under attack as Chachi steps on forward with Santorin. Treats clearing out some of these control wards. Desperate, trying to make sure people like Santorin won't just turn invisible and run at you. Inhibitor number 2 now under siege. Treats throws out the ultimate, nature coming calling, and it's been pretty damn scary this game. Civilization not enjoying the encroaching plants and bugs. Nothing kill. Zyra dead to rights. Gonna keep on sieging forward. Papatero next on the menu. Desperately trying to go forward. Slows for the Q3. Can't find it. The Sixtus Tower's under siege, and NORD will be very certain to ensure Verdant have no way of stopping this shove. It is inexorable. It is inevitable. NORD hop forwards one more time to secure game 1 on the back of a Kha'Zix masterclass.
And it started as a game where we said, hey, it doesn't look too bad for Verdant. It doesn't look too bad for NORD either. They're going pretty much 2-2 in terms of the gold, in terms of the kills. It ended as a game where we have 17-3 as a kill score between the teams. Yes, the beginning did look okay for Verdant, but they never stopped the acceleration of the enemy team. They never could do anything to the Buck. They never could do anything to that Mel. They did nothing about the virus whatsoever. And at some point, they just started popping off, and you just realize there is no way you find any answer from here on, and you just accept your fate as Verdant.
It was pretty tricky, and like, look, Santorin was asked to be a carry this game. You've got, look, all the setup, ways to threaten the backline. The Kha'Zix is supposed to be in there as a kind of X-Factor champion to make the lives of the Karma, the Zyra, the Ezreals really difficult if they start roaming between the map. Once those turrets started falling, that Kha'Zix really took off. And yes, set up for success by the rest of the team, set up by the draft, but he still delivered really well. And I'm really excited to see what NORD are capable of cooking up. It was a slower early game compared to our last series, but the mid game was still good. Slary, last words?
What a game. I can't wait to see game number 2. Still hoping we're seeing game number 3, but hey, if not, it is what it is.
Well, it is what it is from us, Desk. What was it is it what is this is about?
What he said.
Bro, what?
Back to you, Nishlat.
I think
Yes.
he knows that we know
Wonderful
that he knows that we know 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 this
Nemo
is.
ultramicroscopic which is the longest word in English. Nobody expected this one. With that in mind, though, NORD were flawless. And it was a slow start, yes it was, but still, they were slowly cooking and they got the cooking done. That Kha'Zix. Ow!
Worked out, right? Trouble highlighted. There were many squishy champions on the other side with very useful, like limited useful CCs at dealing with Kha'Zix too.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just got to snowball through the game, Santorin. Those first couple of picks really got him, rolling and very accelerated, and it was practically something that Verdant never really had any real tools at dealing with once the rest of the map started to converge around Santorin. Very well played by NORD, playing around that pick so efficiently.
Okay, so I just wanted to showcase very simply. I have 2 very simple clips to showcase what Verdant just couldn't do with the composition they had selected. Let's play the first clip because it's just very simple. We said it over from the draft that with the composition that they have, they're great at kiting and they're great at peeling and they're great at moving backwards, but they're absolutely terrible at moving forward. So if we do have the replays, please throw them in to showcase what exactly happened. This is them trying to enter the river. They're trying, they're poking, they've got no entry, and there you go. They're just gonna keep moving backwards. They're moving backwards, they're defending against the first assault, and that's it. NORD members are using all of their ultimates, and there's nothing they can do. They just keep repeatedly moving backwards. They have no mechanisms. You see Missy just arcane shifting forward, and this just nothing happens.
Yeah, the spacing is really fantastic from NORD, right? They kind of understand that for the important spells, they have that range advantage, and then they just kind of wait by their time. Vishachachi and Trees both go in at the same time, and they set up so well for Santorin, who had found himself that flank, right? It's a very difficult kind of fight to navigate for Verdant there, and that's why it's so difficult playing out games like this when you don't have, considerable hard engage. Even having, position, like air quotes, positional advantage, making it to, a side of the map you want to be in first, isn't always the benefit that it seems like if you don't have ways to get the fight going. And yeah, NORD excellently showcasing how to punish that kind of setup and scenario to a T.
As soon as you get that gold lead, there's nothing you can do. Like, you're getting bullied before you can even enter the fight, and mentally that must be exhausting. Verdant were talking before I got to talk with them. The idea that they planned this, and only if they did Verdant things, the Verdant things where, hey, there's an Atacon, let's coin flip. So the Verdant things. They were comfortable if no Verdant things would happen, but this champion select, I think it's complicated to begin with, and with the experience, and also with Chachi, like, that was ridiculous. That puppy was ridiculous.
I'm telling you, Chachi was robbed. I'm just gonna say it right here. There was don't even start, Yamada. There was a gank in the top lane, level 2 to level 3, level 2 to level 3, and the last hit went to Kha'Zix. Back in my day, that Poppy takes the kill and goes Trinity Force into Blade of the Ruin King. I'm just saying.
Thank God it's not your day anymore, I guess. I don't know what to say. Like,
Hey, it was Chachi's day too. Come on, man.
Look, you've got Kha'Zix into one
You want to
tank.
accelerate
Give
him,
him
yeah.
give him the kills. You want him to start. Like, I agree. It's funny seeing Poppy get fed, but the
Yeah,
point of
what I'm
this
saying.
board composition, like economy wise, Poppy can do whatever the hell she wants. This
Hey, look
does
at
rely
that, man.
very heavily on
That's what?
the
6k more damage. That's what I'm seeing here. So what? 2.6.
If
Who
that
cares?
was a Trinity Force, Jamada.
Right? Right?
No,
Think
you've
about
got me there.
that.
You've got me there. That's true.
Yeah,
If
got
only
you,
the
Got
Triforce
you,
had come
Jamada.
through.
Into Blade of the Ruined King. Let's go.
But the gold, look at the gold diff. It just skyrockets it to 1 point in the game, and then it hits to the 12,000. It's absurd. So let me ask you before we even start looking into game 2, what do you believe Verdant needs to change in order to have a fighting chance?
I mean, easier
Engage.
control.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
easier
those
control
eyes.
of the game, easier control of the team fights. I feel like they did pretty good at taking control of the map. They opened up mid lane, they opened up bot lane, they had pretty good pushing, but they couldn't enter their own jungle. Unless Cassante was with them, they couldn't walk in. Every single time Santorin was waiting with the Kha'Zix, which, by the way, yes, it was a genius pick, but you had ways of playing around that. You had the R5, you could have chosen and engaged a tankier support, a secondary way to engage inside your own jungle, but it just wasn't the case. And I feel like they just straight up made it really hard for themselves from draft. Just pick very easy, if not front to back, at least easy to engage champions. Nautiluses, Leonas, anything like that.
Yeah, so keep that in mind before we jump into Champion Select number 2. The Rels, the Leonas, all of those are still available, not even hovered on the first game. And this could be the last game in favor of Verdant on the upper bracket if they don't change, because NORD are looking spicy and NORD are looking at the Valentine's date with Los Ratones tomorrow if nothing changes. With that in mind, just as initial I said, and we toss it to a break, it is what it is, with a wizard, with a reason what it is. I'll see you soon. What?
Spot on.
Battle of Group A continues now with NORD and Verdant. I have Mishi, I have John. Battle of Group A continues now with NORD and Verdant. I have Mishi, I have John. Welcome to this interview. It's the 13th, so it's gonna be a lovely day. How are you feeling towards this match?
I'm very excited. It was a fun game last time when we played Nord. It was a bit annoying because I think the game got paused like 3 times or something for extended periods. So it kind of ruined the flow of the match a bit. So I hope that today there are no pauses and we just get to play our game.
Interesting.
I was going to say, I think
John.
that completely jinxes it, but I would agree. I think just going through a full series would be a nice one, but a bit of a rarity, I think, in ERL.
I agree with this. John, tell me something. The last time we spoke, you were talking about the idea that NORD was still building the synergy. You took a little bit longer to achieve that, but when you look into the results, they were already massive. So do you feel there's a big difference from seeding stage towards now? And NORD is even more dangerous? Or what's up with NORD?
Yeah, I think we've come a long way in the last couple of weeks. It's always going to happen with a roster like this. I mean, I think we had 2 or maybe 3 scrim days before our first week of competition. So going from that straight into the first week, straight into Los Ratones as well. So rematch against them as well will be a fun one. But I think all teams are going to be in the same situation. Like having that week without play, I think is such a great thing for the format because it allows us to all progress massively in this like 2-week period.
I like that. And Mishi, I'm going to throw the same to you because from seeding stage till now, I mean, it was not the best start for Verdant.
Yeah.
But how are you feeling now?
I mean, I feel like we have come very far as a team. Like we had the same thing where we basically started screaming like the week before and we weren't on the same page. And I think that has been like our biggest struggle, being on the same page as a team. but from the play-ins to playoffs, I think we played a lot better, and I also think that most of our losses were when we were ahead. So as long as we can play our game and be on the same page, I think we have very good chances.
Okay, now that we have all the identities, I want to make a different question that I do all the time. John, I want to start this with you, and then Misha, you can prepare for this one. Usually when I want to talk with the teams, I'm like, hey, how do you feel you're better than the enemy team? Like in what lane? But John, tell me, where do you believe is the best part of Verdant? Because I know you studied Verdant.
Ooh.
So what's the best part of Verdant in the eyes of NORD?
I don't know. I think some of the funnest thing about playing against guys like Verdant is the flexibility. I mean, in the draft so far, there hasn't been all that much flexibility, but like the potential that's there. So especially against playing like people like Mishia, but also Ronaldo, you never quite know. I once played against Ronaldo where he played Jin mid on stage and they dove us bot on the third wave. They all died, but at least it was fun and different. So I think that's a
being
that's a real strength.
unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Mishi, what about NORD?
Well, I think that they have pretty stable laners. Like Xmati treats obviously two very good players, even though they got solo killed last official. I think Visisachi is also like a very stable player, and I think he's very good. I haven't seen that much of Noe because I don't speak German and I haven't been watching his stream a lot, but he has seemed pretty great. And Santorin is obviously a veteran, so I think they are very stable. And when they play together, like obviously it looks good. They're 5 talented people, right?
It's such
Just
a
have
scary
to-
team.
We have to stop Treats hearing that you called him a stable laner.
This is going to be
Maybe not
before the
laner, but
game,
player
so,
at
yeah.
least.
So tell me, Mishi, I haven't made predictions until now, so I'm waiting to get some predictions from both of you. At the end of the day, before the Valentine's, what's going to be the score in this matchup?
I think we will win with 2-1.
2-1. Okay,
Oh.
okay. And how do you think they're going to win that game, though? Just
I'm sure that there will be some miscommunication on our part at some game. Maybe we will throw at Atakan again, you know, like who
you will
knows?
throw a lead.
Yeah, Atakan is a scary objective. But now we have played a month with Atakan, so hopefully it doesn't happen.
You got it now. John, come on. You feel
Well, no,
it's the
I
same
feel bad
number?
to
or
say
no?
2-0, so I have to say 2-1, don't I?
No, but you
and
want to
then-
say 2-0, John. You want to say 2-0. Is that it?
I thought that I was assuming that was what it was going to be, 2-0 both sides. No, but 2-1 is okay because there's a really cheesy draft in one of the games that we misread and it snowballs.
Yeah,
Probably
maybe
coming
you
in from
accidentally
Ronaldo.
leave Corky open.
Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Thank you so much for this one and best of luck within the Rift. I hope to see
Thank
this
you.
match again, the rematch, and have the best luck. I'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Welcome back into pre-game. Right now, NORD looking for that W in order to face Los Ratones tomorrow. It's time to understand a little bit more about what Verdant can provide and also what NORD can provide on game 2 in order to just close this as it is, a 2-0.
See, I saw him nod, and I was like, he's ready to say it. Say it, Jamada. You don't want to say it. You don't want to say that you were wrong about Kazakhs taking the kill. I knew it. I knew that the Poppy should have taken the kill and gotten Trinity Force. That's right. That's right. Because when he doesn't talk, I get to say whatever the heck I want, and no one goes up against me. Now, I feel like it's very, very simple. I always forget what the phrase is. Is it keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple? Which one is it, Jamada?
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. Engage tools are your best friend. They did fantastically well from the side of Verdant, taking control of the map, getting pushed lanes. At the end of the day, they just didn't have reach. And that reach is what really cost them the game.
Well, we jump into champion select, Jamada. You don't get to say a word.
Okay, cool.
Vi is out, Corky as well. NORD are looking for that 80 carry pool to just trim it down. On the other side, Verdant are looking to take away those priority picks. Vi getting a lot of attention for today. Jamada, I'll beep you up. I'll beep you up eventually. So there you go.
He let you speak eventually. Go on, Ashram. All you.
No.
All you, go.
Oh, you don't want to chime in as well, Treble?
All you, go.
You do you. Okay. Kalista is out. Where do you give the priority? Are you looking towards the mid lane or are you comfortable? Because Ronaldo has some issues going into the mid lane versus No Way that experience as well, and the fact that he's not that usual pro player, so you also need to adapt into the creativity coming in from that player. There you go, the Ivern to take away some power from Santorin and also make it weird. What else? Are you going for that bot lane? Are you finally getting some attention towards that B1 pick priority? Because this is also fearless. I was supposed to get those champions on the top to tell me like they're not allowed to be picked. But yeah.
All right. So you guys are wondering if Cassante is going to be picked here right here. Was picked in game number 1. So it's going to be hardcore fearless. However, Skarner has made his way through. And this is one of the ways that you can get away from not having that engaged. Skarner, great champion, engaging, creating opportunities, flash ulting. He'll give you the tools to actually pick people off, start fights much easier. I'm looking at Obstinatus right here as well. Things like, especially since the Rel gets locked in here, the Nautilus, the Alistar that traditionally is picked against this kind of champions to add an extra layer of engage for Verdant.
Okay,
this is a two-man draft. I don't know. You said Ag.
I was waiting for you at this moment. Okay, hey, this is interesting because
so,
you take away the Ivern, you bring in the Skarner because Ivern is usually a counter towards the Skarner, but yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
okay. It's the one answer. No, I'm here now. Fine. I'll stop being pay. And yeah, NORD do that, right? So they don't opt to ban out the Skarner. Despite that, they have this Lilia answer, and yeah, Lilia can definitely outpace the Skarner in the early game in terms of some of the farming power. It does take a couple of levels to come online, but once you start to build up that tempo as Lilia, you can really get things going. It's super difficult to lock down, a champion with as much movement speed as what she has on offer. For Verdant, like Trouble was saying, a bunch of those support options are there to counter out the Rel if they want it. Jace, sure, no reason not to. Didn't get picked in game number 1. Still very, very powerful on this patch. There's the Nautilus. So there you go. You've got engage tools now for Verdant. This game could look significantly different compared to game number 1, where spacing probably is going to not be as big an issue.
They had none. Now they have all. Problem solved right here. And also, they can keep distance if they want to. Santorin is going to have to navigate his way into those big ultimates, Q ultimates from Lilia that we see over in pro play. Chachi, again, one of his, I was about to say more famous champions as well, but it's not going to be the case. Syndra, locked in for No Way in the mid lane. One of those champions that traditionally in League of Legends, extremely blind pickable due to the fact that she can clear so easily in the mid lane. And we'll see what Ronaldo's pick could be against that. You do have a lot of AD towards the top side of the map, so we're probably looking for a traditional mage to go over in the mid lane.
I find it cute is the way has been ignored for so long for the day, and maybe you can reply with that.
If there was a time to do it. Yeah, if there was a time to do it, I think for Verdant, it would probably be this game. I like the way call out. It's kind of I think it's one of the best mages in the game right now, to be honest with you. If not the best in my mind. I think there's so much versatility, and also just overall the matchups in terms of what it can play into both in the mid and the bot lane, that it is kind of just BIS in so many matchups, and I feel like the Syndra can be one of them. Just 'cause you can play at range, kind of stay away from that scatter the weak range even, and farm very, very safely. One thing I'm very concerned about right now is NORD's overall magic damage profile, right? They're obviously going to find some AD sources somewhere in these next 2 picks, but for Verdant already, you know, even for the Jace, you can end up going more towards the Bruiser despite some of those nerfs towards that build path. And Merc Treads, baseline like Null Magic or Negatron, you're just going to take so little damage from what is on offer right now from NORD.
I feel like Verdant right here want to eliminate the possibility of a lane swap. The Sion ban sort of gives that one away. I feel like something like a Zac can even work over on the top side for Chachi if they want to keep him more on the safe side. And I feel like NORD, especially if that Jinx gets locked in here, which it is, it looks way too squishy for me. It feels like Skarner will have a pick of the draw. Whoever he chooses to ult, that one champion dies. So I'm expecting Visit Chachi to pull his big boy tank pants on with something like an Orange, something like a Zac, create a secondary engage, allow the Lily a little bit of an ease of execution in terms of getting into that backline. Rat! Locked and loaded.
I don't know how much of a fan I am of this Twitch at this spot. I mean, what's good
He was
is
nerfed in
there's...
TFT2.
Ah, GG. I mean, look, I think that there's very limited ways of getting on top of the Twitch, though the Ornn would just make this Twitch probably feel a little bit more miserable whenever he comes out of stealth to open up. So, yeah, I mean, we know what the Twitch is capable of, right? It's going to be able to scale into the Jinx even. You can very much get away with one-to-one handshaking a lot of these lanes. So, I think that Verdant are probably going to be comfortable with the lane matchup that they've drafted, but in terms of scaling, it's about getting there and then finding those opportunities to actually blow apart what is a moderately squishy NORD draft from top to bot. We'll see how they handle it, because again, NORD, a lot of engaged tools, a lot of magic damage though.
Yeah, there is so much consistent damage coming through from the side of NORD as well as Verdant. I'm expecting to see very long-lasting team fights, especially if you have two very tanky members on one side, two very tanky members on the other side. And we don't necessarily see very often consistent damage AP coming from in and consistent damage coming through from the AD carry. And both of these teams have that actually locked and loaded for themselves. So I'm expecting to see a pretty low crazy early game in comparison to game number 1, because I feel like both of these teams kind of want to scale to their 2 items before they start doing anything on the map.
So the cards are on the table. I would like to get a reading from both of you, Trouble Inc and Jamada. Trouble, now you start, NORD or Verdant. Is it easy to execute for Verdant, enough to take down NORD? What is this, a 2-0?
I think it's easy. However, I'm still gonna go with NORD because I really like the whole front to back scenario that they've created.
Jamada.
Yeah, I'll go NORD. I think despite the AP, you know, the over index on AP, I think they're probably going to be fine. The Ornn, I think, is really going to be a big difference maker in being able to find strong engages onto their backline.
I think everybody wants to see that date tomorrow, NORD versus Los Ratones. If it comes through, Verdant still has a shot, so let's see what they can do with it. And in order to jump into the Rift, let's have a quick word from our sponsors before we hear Initialize say weird things again. See ya, Jamada.
Welcome back, one and all. I've been told I need to say weird things, and you know what? I'm a very sober, normal individual, and I don't say anything weird. Everything I say is profound and very down the middle. You know, it's not particularly strange at all. Where are they getting
You're
that
also
from?
a good person and a good friend. Yeah, just to add to that list.
Yeah, they don't say that as though you're lying to me, Solari. Why would you do that? You know what? I don't want to know. You know what? We're going to leave that right there before I have my heart broken and I sort of break down on air, and that would be a bad time for everyone involved.
That would be cringe, just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe instead we break down these drafts a little bit, because double team fighting comps, but a little bit different, right? We've got a little bit more AP heavy on the side of NORD. would be a little bit squishier. On the other side, Skarner let through draft. Very, very unusual. Of course, it's 15.3 or S1.3, depending on your nomenclature of choice. But it's Skarner let through with a Twitch AD carry. Not something we see a lot of at all right now.
Honestly, I don't remember when was the last time I personally saw Twitch. Maybe it sneaked through some games that I haven't caught on.
I saw it last year.
This is a surprise for me.
But it was very specifically into, I can't remember what it was, it might even have been into a Jinx. It was Abel over on OMG, trying to do ridiculous things by flashing forward on Twitch and was like dying for every kill, but it was very entertaining. But it was kind of specifically into some of these hyper carry immobile champions where you can sneak up with your invisibility and then unleash from a position where they're not safe. They can't play behind the front lane. They can't play from that range that Jinx often likes to, and you try and blow her up before she gets value in a team fight.
Yeah, and you have Twitch exactly in the same situation here going into Jinx. And on top of that, Twitch has Nautilus by his side, who is going to make sure that catching Jinx off guard is going to be a little bit easier with the depth charge coming from the Nautilus. You have Skarner on top of that. So the idea is that there is a lot of control just to dance around Twitch damage and to allow him to be absolutely unleashed later on in the game. On top of that, you have some really good poll coming in from Jason, from Arozzi. So Verdant are going in with some really interesting choices there. And this Skarner pick is making me feel really worried for NORD, because Skarner is just, you rarely see him allowed, and when you see him allowed, he wreaks havoc on the Summoner's Rift. But I'm afraid I have to go with the desk's opinion here again. I think NORD have a better composition in that sense. And why I say that is that because Verdant have the tools to go into NORD, but NORD have the tools to go in if they want to, because they have a lot of options for engage, committal, non-committal, wherever you look, they have something to go off with. But also if the enemies are going onto them, they have their own disengage tools, they have the tools to turn the fight around. I'm looking at this one specifically for Vizicsacsi. And for me, in later team fights, Vizicsacsi is going to be such an important person to still be looking at, because his ultimate can absolutely break any engage or any team fight plan for Verdant that they go in, because it just turns around, and then you have the sleep, the lullaby from Lilia, you have Syndra, you just have everything to turn the fight around and have it in your hands.
And then Jinx gets excited and runs at you and you have a bad time.
Yeah.
Was a slight observer issue, that's why we're delayed getting onto game, but we are now heading to the Rift for Game 2. NORD are a game away from securing that date with Los Ratones, but at the bot lane there's 3 people there, because look who else is there! A Forge God! It was all a lie, Obstinatus! Dead to rights, Matty donated first blood!
Oh no, oh no. If you play against Jinx and she gets first blood before the 2nd minute of the game, oh, how do you react to that? You probably say, yeah, it is what it is. Thank you so much, Vizicsacsi, say no, for being there on the board and had to sacrifice the flash in order to secure that kill. Now goes with the teleport to the top lane to just make sure that the wave doesn't crash into his turret. But the job has been done there. NORD came into game number 2 with a very clean plan. They have executed it properly. Now they're also prepping to rotate the bot lane to the top lane for a little lane swappy situation. It looks way too good for them. Much better than it's supposed to.
NORD came into this game with a plan, have executed super well. No level 1 shenanigans from the Twitch. NORD got into this bush so early. Look where the Twitch and the Nautilus are. They were trying to catch people out. Don't do it. Mishy Invisible looking to try and punish X-Matty. Steps forwards and comes on out. And Nautilus finds violence.
He finds his death. And he finds the first blood of the game being donated to NORD very graciously. Again, X-Matty very happy with that. But what happened on the top lane? Papi Tiro, no mana, no health, no lane. Santorin.
Flashes over the Ixtal impact. Nicely timed. Mishy is here looking to match the lane swap, but potential Hex flash over the wall here as Treats waddles their way forwards. No horse to be found, but a mount up available. No Way invading with the rest of the NORD squad, looking to try and make No Name's life as hard as possible. Flashes away, so gets stunned. Treats looking for a stun. Potential crash down available. Don't go too much further forward, but that blue buff is Santorin's dead to rights.
So we decide that laning is for the weak of minds. We want to just go all in into the jungle. Yeah, we want to have fun. That's what we're
try this one out. Flash for the hook. Nice job. X-Matty now in danger. Ixtal impact. Mishy gets the kill. Now Santorin in danger against the blooming blows, but will surely fall out as No Name hits him with a boulder. Taking after Nara in that regards.
Very good answer from Verdant's side. A Twitch is pretty much the same thought process here as for Jinx. You want to get him accelerated as early as possible. He is 1-0-1 already as a result of that. Feeling much better on the top lane right now. I mean, top lane, yeah, because we are looking at lane swap yet again. Verdant find their answer. They are setting themselves to 2-1, and actually now they are closer to the feats of warfare compared to NORD, compared to where they were a little bit earlier. But NORD still have left with a lot of vision in the enemy jungle in the top part of the map. Still have left with the Lilia, who clears so quickly, has cleared up her own jungle, cleared the enemy jungle as well. NORD didn't really find a kill here. I'm not sure if they were exactly going for a kill. It looked more like, hey, we want to help Centaurian get accelerated as much as possible, because you can play a lot around that Lilia.
She was level 4. They saw where X-Manny was going to be. Catch him with a gorgeous Hex Flash hook. And then at that point, Centaurian does not have a lot of fun trying to run away there. Vengeance for the Invader. Buff transfer secured. Guess who got the blue buff at the end of it all?
You would never guess until you watched it. A lot of action. Hey, it's another action-packed game, and we're always very thankful for these ones. Expecting things to slow down a little bit from now on, because we had all this craziness. I don't think NORD will necessarily pull out another invade like they did a little bit earlier. More just trying to balance things out a little bit, trying to get Jinx back on track, because she's feeling a little bit behind right now with a kill transfer to Mishi. And the idea is still, you need to find somebody on the NORD side who's going to be accelerated, who's going to be your main carry, and you have a plethora of choices to choose from. Just pick and choose one. Ixmari seems like the biggest potential option here, but still you have the Syndra on the mid lane who scales insanely well. Same with Centaurian in the jungle on that Lilia. Just stick to someone and work around them.
Chachi not going to be miles off the level 6, and Orns that hit level 6 can sometimes look for silly combos with the Call of the Forge Gods, and worth noting, Papatiro hit. Gone for the grasp on the Jace. Early tier as well could well be a tank option. Sometimes we do see that into the tank matchups, ironically, as a Jace, because you can sort of manage the stat discrepancies a little better with just the ability to bruise your ways through some longer fights. So it might be a Black Cleaver, Fimbulwinter type build. No name. Waiting on a smite cooldown here as Treats and Matty came down to see what was happening with the Grubs, but all three are secured by Verdant nice and early. And Skarner, a champion we have seen very, very few games of around the world because of how damn busted he has been. He's been basically permabanned.
Yep.
And the Lacent patch has allowed him to sort of be allowed through, maybe. It still feels like a lot of teams need a draft to manage him. And this game, I feel, not sure how easy it's going to be, especially because both teams have a lot of ways to make the backline's life hell.
I wonder if the double AP, for NORD in the jungle and in the mid lane is one of the ways that they're seeing as an answer to that Skarner, because it is always a problem to deal with Skarner later in the game, just because of how ridiculously tanky he naturally becomes as he progresses through the game and through the levels. So maybe the double AP, because Lilia naturally has a lot of burn. You amplify with the items, and then you add Syndra on top of that just to make sure you are going to have enough to cut through no name. And then Jinx is there just to deal with everybody else on the team. I can see that as an idea for NORD, but we'll see if that's exactly something they go for. But for now, Centaurian just needs to be really careful. Doesn't have level 6.
A bit wary. No Name, of course, does have that. Impale, that's the name of the ultimate. Did get the ultimate upgrade off the smite on the Raptors. Back away from that one. Lilia, notoriously very fast at taking down Raptors. In fact, it's in her abilities. Did you know that, Solari? It's in the E.
What do you mean?
It's in the W, right? Sorry. It's Watch Out Eep. What do you think Eep stands for?
I don't know. Tell me.
Eviscerates enemy poultry.
Oh my god.
Don't sound sensitive.
You just came up with that.
Yeah, I've had that one for years, and it just makes me smile. I don't even think it's that good. Occasionally eviscerates enemy player if it's a very angry Lilia. I think I just like yelling Watch Out Eep in a team fight more than anything else. It's a very entertaining ability name.
Okay, I like it more this way, to be honest. It's a fun one. Lilia is just a fun little champion, and the little Eve that she has in her kit makes it a little bit more exciting and entertaining to look at her. I am expecting her to be eeping at the enemy players more than minions. I would like to see it a little bit more around the lanes right now and around the big objectives now, especially that she has the level 6 unlocked, and now that we have the dragon still standing and waiting for somebody to take it.
Wonder how aggressive they'd be there. Won't do it. Looking for that dredge line onto Santorin. Won't quite find it. Dragon is indeed up and available. No, neither team willing to start it up. Twitch was roaming with the squad there, trying to get some value, and Now that the spray and pray is available, look to rat-a-tat-tat some people down to go off both various names for Twitch's ultimate, depending on the patch you're on. No way, now in danger, the Scatter Week comes on through, but that means there's no way to stop! The Scatter coming straight on through and driving you into a wall, tries to get some value with the unleashed power, but cannot bring anyone down, and the Impale allows Ronaldo to pick up a kill. The Goated Football picking up a Goated kill in mid lane.
A lot of damage went from Norway onto Ronaldo in that exchange as well, but yeah, that is another thing that makes Skarner so obnoxious to play against. There is just nothing, literally nothing you can do when you're already impaled and you just look at there, you don't even need to dash your keyboard or mouse, you just accept the fate that is coming afterwards and you know that it's going to be your death. Already has the Black Fire Torch, however, Norway, so he's coming back to the lane. Not he's coming rather to the other lane, but still he's coming back with a little bit more force, so maybe next time something like that happens, he will be able to secure a kill onto Ronaldo or whoever there is.
What happened in the replay? Who did he try to hit? Oh, flash from Ronaldo. Right, was looking for the shutdown. There would have been a nice kill to pick up for Matt. He can't quite find it, but still, earning a flash, not too bad. And for the record, I still think I prefer Messi over Ronaldo as the GOAT of football. I just wanted to make the reference there. You know, having the competition between Bowsy and Ronaldo as to which footballer is the greater League of Legends player. Right now, Ronaldo off to a good start. In this game, number 2 in this series. Needs to try and keep it up, though, because, of course, Verdant starting very, very strong here. Gonna get the second set of grubs, likely. Call the Forge got in mid lane. Mishy knocked up. Double Brittle procs will likely have to flash away. Dredge line onto the Volcanic Rupture. Mishy actually walks out, not burning either summoner. They'll lose a single grub. Verdant still secure 5, and the Call of the Forge God still used. Where is Jace going? Papatiro is very, very deep, is going to try and teleport out just away in time. The Streets went looking to pick him up. Will instead teleport bot lane and look to help his mid laner out on a shove onto this tier 1.
There's no way it actually worked. There is so many NORD players up there in this top jungle, and they still couldn't catch him on time. And now this turret on the bot lane is at risk of going down very soon. Visichat is going to try to protect it, and Owen under the turret is a very strong force, but when you have 3 members around this bot lane, most likely
Mishy,
even
no way, he's dead.
What?
That is what we're talking about. You get on top of some of these slower, squishier, ranged backliners, and a Twitch can do that. 2-0-1 on the Twitch. Making it work, it was a pocket pick. And it's some pocket sand in the eyes of NORD right now.
Already sitting on the first item completed. As if Twitch needs any additional attack speed, he gets a lot of it from this item when he starts hitting the enemy champion. Exactly what he needs in those up-close fights with the enemies who could potentially try to lock him down, but sometimes they just don't have any reaction time when he comes out of nowhere and starts shooting at you and starts ratatafying you. Yeah, do we have the beginning of the fight here? Okay, he comes in from the blast cone, invisible. Shh, he's hiding, and he's not hiding anymore. All of a sudden, what do you do with him in that situation? Just
get expunged, nerd. It's the honest. Oh, my name's in mid lane, he's doing it again. The Ignite helps Mishy get another rocket. Body block by opposite arms as he goes right back in to the queue and runs away. Santorin is here. I don't think No Name's going to care all that much. Chachi now coming up. Going to see if he can get a bit of a play. This Impale to try and catch Santorin, looking to punish the lilting Lullaby. It means it'll be ult for ult. Mishy gets out. Didn't have the spray and pray. It comes off cooldown now. That's just base damage as Ambush living up to its name.
3-0-1. That is a very scary rat that you're looking at in this game. We're talking about the potential for Ixmari to be the high picker for NORD. I think it's time we look at Verdant and we look at Mishy and we say, hey, Mishy is going to be doing the heavy lifting for Verdant most likely in this game. And he has so much help around him. He has Obstinatus to set up fights for him. He has No Name to do the same. Even Ronaldo in the previous fight on the mid lane, kind of, you know, you can see him working around Mishy as well. Oh my god, Treats! This is not the first time he's trying to go into Ronaldo like that. But now we have this turret in the top lane that is going to go down. Yeah.
Fast out alteration. Papatiro comes up. It's gone for the Black Cleaver. Looking like afterwards that Caulfield's Warhammer will be looking into, I imagine, the Muramana as well. So it's going to be more of a bruisery option, but not the full tag, especially with how the game has gone. It can sometimes be a little flexible there, depending on how games trade out. Verdant are up 4,000 gold. Not quite. Struggling to do maths here. I think Chachi getting this turret will make it more like 3.5. But still a very significant lead. A lot of it I was about to say is in the Twitch's inventory, because Jinx has picked up a lot of plates, it's actually ironically still ahead of the curve here. And the Cull cash in as well has brought value, but Jinx should be ahead. It's not, and the rest of the map, oh my days, that Azir, 30 CS, 1.5k, that Jace, 1.5k ahead, that's a big, big deal. Even the Skarner, right, it's not gone towards a Heartsteel first, gone towards a Spirit Visage into the double burn, allegedly tank-killing builds of this Lilia and Syndra. Skarner's still going to be mighty difficult for them to manage.
Especially that they're not ahead right now, and it's really hard for them to get faster to the items that will help them deal with No Name, while for No Name it's completely the opposite. He's feeling really comfortable in this game. To be honest, Verdant are just in general feeling very comfortable because they've taken down the auto turret in the top lane with the Herald coming up in a minute from now. This is the perfect timing to shove in a little bit and go towards the Herald and then continue the siege of the outer turrets of the north side. And speaking about being on the side lanes, this is insane. Like, they have 5 grubs. They were denied one of the grubs, so they still have 5. Everyone on the side of Verdant can go to the sidelines and be extremely effective there and very quick at taking down the turrets, unless they die.
Obstinatus, I think, is dead. Chachi just missed his ult, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't matter. The kill's still secure. Just want to call that one out. Ult used by no way to secure that kill. Now they're going to look for the re-engage as Ronaldo comes on over Chachi. Searing charges away. Still looking to make sure they can't get that much value out of this. This is one of the issues with the Nautilus. Gone for a Bloodsong build as well. Lots of burst, lots of CC. Not that tanky, and you can get caught out when you're looking for picks. Be careful, the picks don't turn around back on you. Rapatira being run out. Santorin looking for the bowling ball, but is going to swing and a miss on that one. Flash for the Blooming Blow. Lilting Lullaby now comes on forward. Slow afterwards. Crash down into the watch out heap. Blooming Blows come on through. Rapatira will blow one away. Dream Dust coming on in for Santorin. Still gets to press Q one more time and secure the kill.
They get the kill by rotating 2 people on the bot lane. I wonder if they can get something out of it.
No way.
Ronaldo.
2 levels down. Needs to be really wary here. Fast out alteration. Not going to be followed up with by Obstinatus. There's a Chachi around as well. There's the Twitch. Still in mid lane. Looking to siege that one up. But Nord, strike a couple times, pick up a couple more kills, and that's necessary. Need to get a bit more gold back. You can't allow the grub stack Jace and Nash's building Azir to start side laning with no pressure behind them. Grub's still secured though. Not Grub's, Herald, sorry. Still secured there by No Name. Now be able to help use that in mid lane, you imagine, with all those ghosts behind it. I don't think that tier 1 will be long for the living.
No, it will not. It has to be the game plan for Verdant right now because the top lane is gone, the bot lane is gone. While there was that kill happening on the bot lane for Nord, Verdant were taking the Herald, they were taking down the top lane. They were having a lot of control of the top part of the map, which they still maintain, to be fair. But right now they can take out this turret, and the thing for Verdant is that they can go really deep onto the enemy and siege their inner turrets with no problem. Azure very quickly escape if danger comes his way. Puppet Hero didn't escape that last time we were watching him on the bot lane, but the idea is pretty much the same. You should be able to escape from anybody except for Lydia, maybe, because she's a very quick champion. Mishi pretty much the same, goes into this sort of stealth situation and gets out, and they are very quick at taking down the turrets as well. How do Nord answer that? Because they need to keep rotating Visage Charge into the side lanes just to try to maintain the pressure away from them.
Nice observer toggle there. The vision game gets very scary into a competition like this. If you don't know where Skarner, where Nautilus, where the Twitch are at all times, difficult to know where you're safe. A lot of members vulnerable to the full combo from Verdant. A depth charge onto this Jinx, into an Impale, will lead to a very swift death. Same for this Syndra, who is notoriously not the easiest champion to pilot in a side lane, and down, as we said, 2 levels to this Azir. Not an easy time of it. There goes the mid lane tier 1. Now Matty as well. Driving license, Obstinatus. Are you going to pass? Throw it into
no.
wall. No, he's failed. Gonna have to go for another option. The rocket comes on through. Only lands onto No Name, who doesn't really care at this point. Not going to lie to you guys.
Nah, he didn't feel that. He absolutely did not feel that. And now they have taken down. They've taken down what they wanted. This inner turret on the bot lane. They are retreating because there is nothing to do here anymore. Still a bit less than 4 minutes before the Drake comes up, and it's just going to be the second Drake of the game. Considering how fast-paced, this game feels, the fact that we're just on the second dragon feels like a crime. But Verdant are feeling really comfortable right now and confident. Look at their items. 2 items onto Ronaldo, 2 items onto Mishi. That is a lot of raw power that is coming out of them. That's a lot of damage. And for NORD, how do you deal with that? Your Syndra is behind, your Jinx is behind, and there is not many ways for you to find at least some safe spot for them because you don't have any safe space on the map anymore with all the turrets going.
Yeah, I know you said the Jinx behind it because it feels like it, right? I mean, the gold is even. The issue basically is that this Jinx really wants another 2 items, wants to complete the second item,
Yes.
get to a third, try and stay safe, and at this point, how easy is it going to be remain even when you don't have any outer turrets, and anytime you lose vision control, you're going to have a Skarner driving through a wall, a flash from a Nautilus, the invisible ambushing 2-item level 12 Twitch at the height of their powers with Hurricane to spread spray and pray bolts, literally coming to murder you at any given opportunity is not an easy game state, and NORD would love to keep it as even as they can. I just don't know how easy it is. Chachi is not tanky to the 2-item Nash's Tooth Liandry's Azir. This is a difficult game state for NORD, and I don't know how quickly it gets easier from here.
If it even gets easier at all.
Lilting Lullaby, but immediately Dredge lining away. The rocket comes on through. Treats will go for the Magic Storm in, trying to kill off the Nautilus, but not doing so well. The Corner Force got after means the Skarner is splatted. Down to the backline. Mishy gets over the wall. Try to play and spray that one out. I inverted the words, but the damage is still true. 1 for none. But NORD strike back, and they've still got a little bit of danger to him.
And they've slowed the game down a little bit because Verdant were extremely offensive on the top lane, same on the mid lane, potentially looking for kills there to then rotate towards Atacon that is already spawned on the top part of the map to go take it, and then with the withdrawals continue their siege of the North space. Now that their jungler is down for 10 more seconds, they couldn't really go and continue their plan. They have to withdraw. They have been slowed down. It is not much, but NORD have bought some time for themselves now. We're just a minute and a half away from the Dragon. Maybe something to look forward to for NORD, or maybe try to set up the vision around Atacon, around top part of the map, to have a better understanding of how Verdant are moving around the map in order to not get caught by them.
They really, really wanted Mishy there too, but he flashed out just well enough. Of course, cost a lot of flashes yourself. Matty without a flash and without a cleanse, there is no Mikhails to be seen. Dangerous into things like this Skarner in particular. The target number 1. No way, I think we'll be up there as well. Still scaling up. 102 Splinters of Wrath. 120 is when you max out. Once you've already got that pseudo death cap from, I think it's the 100 mark on that. 120 is when you get the execute on your ultimate, and that will be valuable because basically, whenever the Twitch turns up, you press R. That is the whole game plan here. You try and make sure that Twitch does not get a full ultimate off. Mishy, you do get one. Team fight feels pretty damn good for you. Of course, at this point, with the fact the Azir is so strong, by the fact that Jace is also quite happily very strong, it's a triple threat comp at this point. So not as easy to just say, splat the Twitch and you can win the game, even if that is step 1 from NORD.
It is a step 1, but yes, as you said, there has to be a step 2 and a step 3 afterwards. And I'm not sure if NORD are currently in a position to hold the fight for long enough to get to the step 2 and the step 3 here, while still keeping Ixmari and Santorin alive, and Noe potentially. So that's like way too many objectives they have in every single team fight, and it's making the fight so complicated for them to approach. And now they know they cannot fight for the Dragon. It's going to go into Verdant's pockets, and it's going to be the second one for them. There is no way NORD are even approaching the pit at this moment. So what is a smart idea to do? To still try to stop the bleeding, because Puppeteer is on the side lanes non-stop pushing the waves in, and you gotta answer
Need to
it.
go top. Look at the Lilia. They're doing Atacon. Pull away. There were some pinks. They tried to rush it. Can't. Bit of a damage check with the 2 items on the Lilia, Riftmaker and Liandry's. You do have quite a lot of objective burn. Still not enough. And actually, with the pull off, Verdant gonna sweep out this vision control. And I wonder whether they feel like they can force NORD into a team fight. Verdant barrier picked up by Ronaldo as well. How this Zia feels like they got enough damage that they can go towards that slightly more defensive option there. Makes it a lot hard to pick them off with the engage, the double AP threats as well of the Lilia and Syndra. Going to find it a bit harder to manage the Azir at this point as well.
We're looking at this Atacon right now. We're looking at a potential team fight in the jungle right now. Look at that. Verdant want to cut somebody down before they commit to this Atacon. Mishy is with them right now. So it's as good time as any go take this turret because they still have the 5 grubbies and they still have really good damage towards these turrets. Take someone down from Nord if they misstep, and they have to be really careful with how they go into the jungle right now.
2 wards behind. They could pull a teleport if they really, really wanted to. Those wards behind mean they have an idea about where Ronaldo is. The swell seed to help keeping track of everyone else, but Chachi at half HP is got to be wary. There's no way. Has thrown an ult at Papatiro. Won't quite get the kill, but now the corner force goes flying onto Ronaldo, but the shuffle away is good. Teleport now flying. Syndra on a flank angle, but Lilting Lullaby comes on through and flash away from Ronaldo, buys time. Where's Mishi? Flashing on in, and X-Matty is deceased and pushing up the daisies. Down go 2 members as the spray and pray leads to a miracle fight for Verdant, who can turn straight back off towards the Atakan. Prayers answered.
How did X-Matty end up there? How did he end up completely away from the rest of the team in such a vulnerable position? There is no way Verdant would not turn around and go onto him immediately, and without X-Matty, NORD simply cannot continue to fight, and they lose one more, and they lose Atakan because of that, and with their outer turrets gone, with the inner turrets going on the bot lane as well, guess what Verdant are planning to do right now? They are planning a full-on assault onto your base, and that's going to be really hard to survive. So how does X-Matty end up there? Because the fight starts in this very small, very narrow piece of the jungle. With the shuffle from Azir, there is no way you're getting anywhere into there fast enough. He wasn't in the fight in the first place, and he just wanted to walk around.
Bad rotation. Bad rotation. Tried to get there in time for the fight. Got caught up by the Nautilus. Twitch now 5-0-1. Lord Dominic's regards completed to add a little bit of insult to injury. You've got Atakan, you know what else is up? Baron. You can just run at that at this point.
Yeah.
You've got more than enough damage to burn it. You'll force NORD into another fight with the withdrawals available. No teleport on Papatiro, so not necessarily the ability to teleport back in with everybody after the fights, but still able to potentially force that. Papatiro shoves up that wave, and you can see with all of the control wards littering where the Atakan was on the top side of the map, it is Verdant who control the river. This team, we get a little bit of a note to check your posture.
Oh, yes.
Because NORD, I think, are going to need that, because they've just been sucker punched, and I don't think they are sat up straight right now.
Wait.
Gonna get picked up, but he's still damn tanky. He's got withdrawals. Will throw up a big impale, though, Santorin. Looking over the wall. Flash for a Q3. Shut down onto Syndra, but the withdrawals on 3. Makes it a 3-for-1. Papatiro can't quite claim treats as well. But a nice angle from NORD. Deny a number of those resets, even if they lose the shutdown.
At least they deny the Baron for the time being. They know that Verdant cannot go to Baron sneakily. They know they cannot go to it immediately. They're not getting much of it. They're just getting the withdrawals, go back to the base. Now, however, is when things get complicated, because the problem for NORD is, yes, you got those withdrawals out, but you got out of the fight with really low health bars yourself, and you still have a lot of bleeding over the map. You can't go to the Baron, you have no vision there, and what do Verdant do once they're back from withdrawals? They go towards the
Start
Baron.
up again. Lilia's not there, and they didn't get quite enough out of that, unfortunately, and with no way dead, the flash is not available in either the mid-jungle. That's still Baron, and the Atakan still leads to a solid enough advantage off the back end of it all. He blew a lot to make that one. I mean, every ult that NORD had, a couple flashes too. It wasn't enough. That's a terrifying prospect. 12 seconds till soul point available for Verdant as well. The only objective that NORD have managed to find this game is a singular grub. This is a team that's supposed to be matching the likes of Los Ratones in terms of the caliber of players on it. Visichachi, Santorin, Treats, all played at an incredibly high level. X-Matty, former LEC as well. No Way, one of the longest standing streamers and pro players out there as well. And right now they are being manhandled by Verdant. By a jungler, literally a no-name. Doesn't feel like it this game. Pun makes itself. And yes, some of these players, I think, will be looking to make a name for himself, and some of these scalps will be wonderful. If they get even a single game, feels damn good. If they can get more than that, then you start to feel happy. We said NLC's been full of a few upsets. Maybe this will be another. It feels like this is Verdant's game to lose for sure. Soul Point, 6,000 gold, Baron, and a scaling comp that is ahead of the curve versus NORD, who scaled just fine themselves, don't get me wrong. When you're matching scaling, people who are ahead just tend to stay ahead. Flash away there from No Name, didn't want to get CC'd.
Listen.
Papatiro. Flash away, just about okay.
He did listen to me. Good job. Verdant, nobody's stopping them on the top lane. Hello? Nord, your base is under
Gone.
attack. 5 grabbies. Baron, are we doing anything about it?
He tried to attack the isolated member to break the Baron. Doesn't quite happen. A suppression comes on forwards, only on retreat, but it buys a lot of time so he doesn't get the grass down. Misty in the back line! Finally goes down, but he took the Jinx and the Syndra with him. The Rat wins again. It is the day of the Rat. Lost Ratones into a Twitch game that breaks everyone. Verdant are here to play, and NORD will not win this series cleanly. Hell, they might not win at all. Verdant, a long-standing org in the NLC, so are NORD. But these players descend. They are supposed to be the veterans. They are supposed to be walking it into this upper bracket finals. Don't think they are anymore.
I'll chat HDD from Verdant in this game, honestly. And it's like, first of all, don't give the opponent Skarner if you want to go into a 2-0 series, because, like, what could possibly go wrong if you do that? And second of all, apart from, you know, that being just a busted champion, Verdant players found some really good plays early on in this game, making sure that their Twitch gets accelerated insanely. And after that, when he's so ahead, and when the Skarner is still scaling, and when nobody's doing anything about the insane sideline pressure that Verdant have, it's just an easy walk from Verdant all the way from their nexus to the enemy.
Well, solo laners got incredibly fed. The Twitch was monstrous, and just John said it in that interview in the break with Archeron. What happens if they get a cheesy draft? Was it a cheesy draft, or was it just straight Genius Desk? I'll leave that question to you.
If there's cheese, there's a little Twitch, there's a little rat, and they got it in, and you said it, Trouble. I mean, Twitch kinda outranges Jinx, because he's sneaky.
I feel like, to reply to the question from Initialize, I feel like that wasn't a cheesy draft. I think it was pretty genius. You've got 2 very clear engage tools with the Nautilus and the Skarner. You've got a disengaged mage over in the mid lane with Azir, and very consistent damage coming through from the Twitch as AD and AP through the Azir. Plus, as you said, the rat outranges the Jinx later on with the ultimate as well. So I feel like it's a pretty genius move, because you can position yourself around the fights. Doesn't necessarily have to be a front to back, so you can also play around the confusion of the invisibility.
I like it. It looks like the date is postponed because we still have to get a game 3, and that to me is like it's delicious. This is delicious. Jamada, when you look into this game, how do you feel like the Twitch got accelerated? I think this is your time to shine, because you didn't build the Trinity Force. I'm just saying.
Okay, here we go. It was the mid lane, like it was after the laning phase had kind of come to an end. It was a very strange laning phase at that as well. But it was just constant picks onto No Way in the mid lane, right? I think it was 2 or 3 times kind of back to back. Verdant were just able to quite literally just run into mid and pick up 3 kills to get Mishi kind of rolling. And it's funny because Mishi wasn't even particularly far ahead of the Jinx for a pretty long time. They were kind of weirdly item parity, but still, the fact that he's able to just kind of walk into the mid lane and effectively assassinate No Way. This is early on in the game, mind you, right? This is level 8 to level 9, right? This kind of shouldn't be happening so early on, you know, from a Twitch. So again, I think that snowball, or that was what began the snowball, and I don't want to point to the draft as a major issue for what NORD put down, but I think the magic damage really hurt their ability, or the high levels of magic damage in their draft really hurt their ability to kill the front line consistently to get to Twitch or to get to Azir as inefficient amount of time as they probably needed to in the majority of those fights later on in the game.
I doesn't necessarily feel like the Lilia had any avenues of getting into the back line, getting in touch with any of the members of the opponent team. And if we started, okay, we're not gonna start it from the very beginning, but this was a fight where I'm scratching my head because NORD is engaging here. I'm watching Matty walk the forbidden route of the jungle and instantly get picked off. And I feel like this happened not once, not twice, but 3 times. Jamada mentioned it that Jinx was pretty even with the Twitch. Twitch was about 3 kills in. The Jinx had managed to stay even in terms of items and gold and experience. But when Mati doesn't get to be a part of these team fights and put down the damage, there's literally not many other avenues. Jamada said it. They were itemized against the AP damage. So once Mati is down, who's the only physical damage in the team, there's not much more to do.
Are we at all concerned with what Skarner was capable of pulling? It was just a side issue.
Good
wasn't
pun.
it?
Good pun. I don't know. Like, yes, Skarner was strong, but I don't think this is like one of those games
not,
where you look at
yeah.
it and you go, "Wow, Skarner made the entire game tick." Right? I think you could have put a fair few different champions in that slot, and they would have probably come out and done the same thing this game. Yeah, it didn't make their game easier, but also it set up for things like that early invade, where NORD were trying to push Santorin ahead. This isn't that replay, obviously, but again, I think this lies a lot more in, later stage executions and, of course, the isolated picks that NORD continually allowed Verdant to find, and Verdant were just happily taking them with open arms.
And of course, this was a fight that was at the very end, but it kind of shows the ease of execution between game 1 and game 2. I feel like Verdant could quite literally not play the game over in game 2 and over in game 1, but in game 2 it was just very easy, simple tools that they could use along with the skill, because no one really doubted this series. They came through to this game while 2-0ing through an quote-unquote upset, or something that people did not expect, right? So them actually giving them a run for their money is prize. And of course, Michigu taking a huge part in that win. I feel like 8-1-3 KDA doesn't really matter right here, but again, what Jamada mentioned earlier, the fact that he would use the Twitch to take picks around the map, and I feel like Norway did not have a good game either. I feel like games when you have champions like Twitch and Evelyn, especially when they're not seen very often, you tend to forget what makes those champions really strong. And even though it's not necessarily really not respecting them, I think it's the aspect of forgetting what they do best, which is hide. You can tend to overextend and give free kills.
So it's 1-1 at this moment in NORD or Verdant. And this is the post game. Obviously, like, that damage is extremely high, and if you look into the gold difference over time, it's pretty much the same visual that we got in the previous game. So both games were totally dominated by one side.
Sorry,
Leads to one
just
death.
because I saw it.
What?
There's 3 Void Grabs, 2 Void Grabs, 1 Herald, 1 Atakan, 1 Baron, and on the other side for NORD, there is 1 solo Void Grab. This is so sad. That's it. That's all they
It's
got.
a single voidy. You need some.
And I think it was through Jinx as well.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it was Mati
It was the steal.
ulting over and stealing it.
Yeah.
So both games extremely one-sided. Any leverage towards the third game, because NORD picks blue side for game 3.
No,
Yeah.
I think
That's
this
exactly what I was fishing for.
this
Thank you
this
so much.
this is just gonna be an execution game. I feel like, right?
Yeah.
I don't think, again, you can kind of just like cop out and analyze the drafts and say there's a lot of magic damage on NORD. Look, they fell behind in the lane swap, right? That was a big part of why, Matty wasn't as far ahead as he probably should have been. He fell very far behind in XP too because of that invade that we spoke about too. I don't think the drafts have been a big issue. I think the adaptations that really need to be air quotes made are staying on the same path. There are other adaptations in my mind. Play these easy to execute compositions, but don't fall into these ideas or these traps of ideas that you seem to be having around just hard committing to something like this invade. Play to, hey, we need to make sure that Santorin is getting ahead because he's on this carry pick, or we need to make sure that Matty's getting these resources on this timer on this wave. Because Verdant are watching what they're doing and just going, well, they're dropping this wave here. They're dropping this plate there. We're getting gold on the uptrade. We might lose this buff in the early game, but who gives a damn, right? The overall game state, I feel like, is being a lot more respected by Verdant as opposed to it kind of is right now by NORD.
Well, both teams have one game. Both teams are looking strong. Whoever adapts towards the third one will move on. It's a glorious evolution, and let's see who moves on towards tomorrow. With that in mind, we'll move on into a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you soon. We are back for game 3 in the final one, by the way. Really cool glasses, Trouble. I would like to say that. Congratulations. We're about to jump into game 3 of this series. Whoever moves on from this game moves on in the brackets to a date with Los Ratones tomorrow because it's Valentine's. I hope everybody back at home has a wonderful day on the Valentine's. I hope both of you have a wonderful day as well. And production. Hey, let's jump into Champion Select. How we doing?
You're asking us or the production?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, I hope
know,
everyone's
Archer,
having a great time. You too,
Unfortunately,
Jamada.
I'm spending my Valentine's Day with you tomorrow on this
Oh,
desk
true,
again.
true.
So,
Same,
like,
same.
It's gonna be a bit of a whatever one. Either way, Nord on blue side this game 3. Kalista, Corki, very standard bans right now, and Bessa. Obviously, we saw Jace out from last game, so we won't see one of those hit the ban phase, but we will definitely see the Vi. Things like the Sejuani also kind of rise in priority as a potential ban, but also as a potential first pick. Though Nord have, fielded 2 games with carry junglers
Where
so far.
monkey?
And I agree, where is the monkey? If there was ever a game for Wukong to get first picked, I would probably assume it's this one. Most of the direct AP counters are out, and it kind of leaves the skirmishes like Xin Zhao and Viego as the few options still up and available as we wait for Verdant's final ban, which is still going to be the Rumble, so we won't see Rumble this series.
Also pretty valid to point out that Game 1 and Game 2 drafts are going to be completely out of the question right here in terms of champions. Hardcore, fearless draft doesn't allow any of these to be picked. You mentioned the Sejuani, Jamada, and I raise you Pantheon. I feel like he does great in the early game. He does great at ganking in the early game, and I feel like it actually came into fruition when Mishi started getting kills early on. It felt like the whole draft kind of came together, but now seeing the Gnar, and if this Orianna does get locked in, it kind of gives me glimpses of Nocturne, and I love how they locked in the Gnar and Orianna first, because Nocturne not gonna get taken away by Nord, but this is where my mind goes in, and Verdant that wants to play all in.
What if we just go Silas and something, as Nord? Because then I think life gets really hectic for Verdant. You can find something that's really strong on the side lane. Maybe, Chachi's not really one to play many direct carry counters. He kind of is one of the OG tank players. For now, we're gonna forego these solo lane picks. Seemingly, they're predicting that this is gonna be the Nocturne Orianna combo. Preemptively picking up the Zarya makes sense. You've got the Rakan as well. And Verdant, at the end of the day, are kind of locked into going Nocturne, right?
Yeah.
At this turning point, I think Nord are kind of throwing down this gambit, so now they can get 2 strong bans. Regardless, if Verdant try to, not bite that bullet and they go towards the bot laner, then the junglers are going to get pinched. I
raise you. I don't know if No Name is daring enough, but I raise your Rengar potentially here as well. Drop the Nocturne. Oh, it's actually drop the Nocturne anyway, and go for Xin Zhao. What's wrong with the Rengar, Jamada?
What's wrong with the Rengar? I could be here all day.
Look, Zarya and Rakan, the 2 most anti-dive champions. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, I think that's you might have answered your question. Remember I played Rengar for a long time.
You did?
It's pretty decently high elo back in 10 years ago almost.
Yeah, back in his day,
back in my day. Anyway,
Rengar, Kayn, Yasuo, what is wrong with you?
Did you just look at my account?
He's actually...
No, I know your account.
That's so weird.
I think did we tell you about that one
ban?
game where we played together and he told me don't worry and he picked Kayn and he went 0-11 or something? Yeah, I didn't have to worry about who's going to win. I kind of knew straight off the get-go.
You could tell the kind of evening that we're having on the desk tonight.
Tomorrow's gonna be lovely.
Tomorrow's gonna be great.
I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be on the cast.
True.
You guys have fun.
True. Nord, double support bans, right? Would make a lot of sense. Though I guess, what else is what you could go maybe a Renard ban? Kind of just leave it there, right? I think all the other support, melee supports are kind of out at this point. Braum. Fair enough. I think dealing with Zim Braum is pretty irritating. And now Verdant, 4th pick, likely to be the AD. Quite a few still up, but I'm kind of curious on whether or not they try to go towards something like a Zeri, full-blown just hyperscale. Or we get a weird AP bot laner off of the hover.
Yeah.
You guys...
It's not bad when you've got Xin, but I'm not going to talk about the hover too much.
Okay.
You guys also forget that Mishi who used to be called Mishigu, was a huge AP botlane enthusiast. The Seraphins, the Ziggs, mostly known for the Ziggs. But because the Ashe has now sort of fallen on priority, you kind of tend to forget the type of champion. And you do have Renata, as Jamanda mentioned as well, so you can go double ranged bot lane if you want to. A lot of her really strong pairings have been taken away. And now what can you play against Orianna? That's a no way special. No way Seraph, which actually beats Orianna in terms of range, and you can also stay relatively safe in terms of wave clearing. It has been something that he's been criticized for, overextending lane, getting caught, and the game snowballing from there. And last pick, of course, is going to be for Chachi. I'm expecting potentially even a Sion. He has been an enthusiast when it comes to tanks.
Yeah, it's going to be a tank. If it was a different player, I would ask for the Camille. No, okay, awesome. No, because they need more dive. They need more dive. The only reason why I didn't want to talk about the carries is because it's Chachi, but I'm happy that he's willing to pull out this matchup. It's
his new Chachi.
Obviously one that for a very, very long time has been pretty Camille favored. As the Seraphine will get locked in, right? It's going to be support Seraphine. So a lot of poke and a lot of push on the bottom side. And I'm not sure how well NORD are necessarily going to fare in a lane swap, if that kind of is what they want to pull out here. I think the 2v2 is going to be pretty brutal down there. And so will the top lane matchup. So we'll have to see how Verdant tried to navigate level 1 as well.
I'm just going to say, I think right now the top laners have put it down and they're like, listen, whatever you do, make sure we do not get lane swapped on. Because I don't think the Camille or the Gnar want to deal with a 1v2 scenario right here. And honestly, I'm excited to see Chachi on a carry again. Because he used to be the carry poppy dude. Now he's playing a proper carry champion that actually does really well into mini Gnar form as well. And Santorin, I think he's going to be heading on his way up. So all eyes on Santorin. See if you can get Chachi ahead this time. Santorin cannot yoink the kill away because Chachi's holding the carry in his hands.
The draft is done, and this is the last game for one of these teams on the upper bracket. The other one will have to move on to tomorrow, and whoever loses will move on to the lower bracket. One more continue. With that in mind, let's continue towards the ads and then into the Rift. I'll see you soon.
Welcome back, one and all, to our final game of the night here on the NLC. Verdant struck back in Game 2 with a Twitch composition that broke the backline of NORD really, really hard. Come into this last game of the day, very different drafts again. Chachi and a carry. We've got Sejuani plus melee carry top laner. We've got a Xerath with a cage to literally shoot fish in a Hextech barrel. On the other side, of course, Verdant, Ashe Seraphine, extended range on the encore with the Shins out to try and get people in. Big team fight comp from them, basically.
Yes, Verdant want to be team fighting, and for that team fight, ideally they want all 5 people together because all of them have great synergy between each other. You're talking about big ultimate wombo combo from Gnar paired up with Xin Zhao. You're talking about Xin Zhao being there to deliver the ball from Orianna, plus, as you said, the extended ultimate from Seraphine. Ashe is there to stop things with the arrow to see if they can fish for somebody, catch somebody with an arrow, and then go on.
Ow.
This is such an interesting team composition from them, and they have a really strong bot lane, by the way. Like, we're looking at Ashe plus Seraphine, a lot of slow, a lot of rooting because of the slow from Ashe, and it procs the Seraphine's passive for her E. So you
really
don't,
cool.
Yeah, you don't really want to be laning against that one because it can become really obnoxious. You either lane swap or you pray that your jungler comes and visits you.
I really like that call out because, of course, the way that Seraphine's beat drop work is if you double up the E, you gotta get that echo on it. You end up going to a route. If you've already got a slow, a single one route, and instead with the double up, you get the stun instead, which is huge. So if you get a Ryalize on Seraphine, it's often really obnoxious because of that. Level 1 invade though. Verdant looking to counterplay this one. Santorin entreats, caught a little bit deep. Flash away from that echoed beat drop. Prevent said route from coming on through, and now Verdant get that nice little invade to force the flash and get a nice start. Double knock-up, though. Pretty obnoxious as Obstinatas. Chunked out really low by that Ignite. Need to try and work their way through here. I think Treats won't have the cooldown to find another grand entrance.
Ooh, he went all the way down to 150 health, which is really bad for Seraphine to stay on this lane. If Rakan decides to engage, if Santorin stays around, this could be deadly for Obstinatas, and that's exactly the case, actually. Santorin is still around.
Uh-oh. Santorin can look to come on in here. Doesn't have the red bus. Flash away. Grand entrance still comes on through. Obstinatas will have a beat drop available in a second or two. Looking to try and get the roots across. Gets them across a few. Mitchie try to run away! And Treats will have to secure first blood with the auto. Santorin says, well, if I'm not going to get red, I'll at least get a gank off.
That was a good timing from NORD, because Obstinatas did have to use the heal that he has on this Seraphine a little bit earlier when he was passing through the tri-bush next to the bot lane just to get back to the lane in one piece. And because of that, Mishi did have to use the cleanse. Ashe without the cleanse on the bot lane is very susceptible to the further ganks from NORD. Even though the kill goes to support in the end from the NORD side, it's still a good kill secured. It's still a good pry on the bot lane secured.
That's every summoner blown in bot lane, but Matty's cleanse, a nice recovery from what was a pretty nasty invade coming through from Verdant, and will make life a little bit trickier, especially now not having the flash. Make Treats' life on the engage pretty scary here for Verdant. Mid lane as well, no wait, poking out well into the Orianna. Orianna normally used to being a bit of a bully into mages, but Xerath, as long as his skill shot accuracy is decent, kind of outranges pretty hard there with the Arcana Pulse and the I want to call it the Eye of Terror, but that's a Warhammer 40,000 reference. What is the little lightning eye on the floor? I can't remember. I have to go look that up in a second.
Oh, take your time, because I can't help you on that, unfortunately. You lost me there quite a long time ago. But I gotta tell you, it's really hard to bully somebody you can't even see, because Darius is going to stay really far away from Orianna. The only downside to that is that mana costs for Xerath early are really high, but same honestly for Orianna, and Orianna has to rely on her mana much more than Xerath just to stay on the lane, and as you can see on the map right now, she can't even do that.
It is Eye of Destruction is what it is. Eye of Terror is the that too. So there's lots of eyes of things. I was almost right. It's the same kind of vibes. Just destruction over terror.
It's an eye. Yeah, you were pretty close. Good job there, Sam. I'm proud of you.
Thank you for the the words of praise. I need that in my life, you know.
Oh, you want to talk about it?
No, not really. Not on air. That would be a bad idea. Welcome to the League of Legends group therapy session. This week in solo queue, I was super tilted.
Who wasn't?
Yes, you know what? I'm not special. It's very true.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break that to you, but you're not. Not in that sense,
okay,
at least. That's what I wanted to say.
Did you have to cut it? Did you
yes,
rub it in a bit more? You're not important, Sam.
Hey,
thank you very much.
I'm just getting my revenge, okay? I've been hurt way too many times.
Is this because of the Daddy Swain comment the other week? Is this what it is?
Among other things, yes.
I don't think I want an itemized list. Thank you very much. I'll stay away from that. I can wait for feedback sessions, I think. Not about casting, it's just personal relationship stuff at this point. This is why I dislike you as a person. From Solari to me. Hang on, Papatiro. Level 6. Chachi's still at level 5. There's a world where you get Nard into a turret hit. There's the 6 coming on through. And a plate. An early lead to the Nard. Camille sometimes takes a little while to get rolling. Wants to get to that 1-2 item mark to be really, really threatening.
Or at least at the Shin. At least she wants a Shin in her lane to feel a little bit more comfortable, because before that, it's really hard for her to say anything to Na, who can just stay in a very safe distance from her, just keep firing his little boomerang, whatever it is he fires. And yeah, for Vizichaji, it's hot, but now he's going to recall, hopefully coming back to the lane feeling a little bit better than before. And yeah, we got level 6, which is always a very crucial point for Camille to hit. After that, you wait for the first item, and then everybody in Verdant should be really careful and should be warding around a lot, because I know Vizichaji, he will be looking for those flanks on that Camille.
And this top lane matchup, Papatiro, not exactly new to League of Legends, started in 2021, I want to say. Spent a bit of time on teams like White Dragons over in Portugal, which are a relatively famous team to people who've been following the ERLs for a while. But when do you think Vizichaji started playing League professionally?
Long time ago, before most of us were even knowing about League of Legends.
Paying attention, 2013, when
Oh
year
my
when
God.
Faker won his first World Championship. That's 12 years ago now, by the way, for those of you who've been following for a while.
I was
Bit of an
in
experience
school
discrepancy here. As hang on, mid lane, looking to go forwards. Stacks up to the double up of the abilities available. Echo, I believe, is the correct term. Zed throws down a high note. Helps Ronaldo clear out the wave. Won't quite be in range to get on top of Ronaldo.
So now we have a little bit of an easier situation in the mid lane, which allows Ronaldo to rotate from this mid lane towards this first dragon. No name is here, Optimus is here. Misha on the bot lane is feeling very fine. So yes, all stars have aligned for Verdant to go and take this first drake, especially after this they've given away the Krabbies to the Nord. It's really, really important that they secure at least this objective.
Managed to get a hold of that, and that is good news. And it was a bit of a weird early game. Solid invade into solid response from Santorin, and again, very veteran jungler, has been invaded a few times over his career, especially on things like Sejuani. He was a massive player of that champion, particularly in his time on Team Liquid, setting up for carries like Jensen and Doublelift back in the day when Team Liquid really ran the league for a very long time. Was it 4 back-to-back titles, something like that?
Oof.
Of course, over here in the NLC, in this year where we picked up, it feels like, a lot of huge names. In fact, it doesn't feel like it. It's just actively true. There are huge names in this league right now. There's no way. Hit by the shockwave. No name now in range for a wind becomes lightning that will force a flash. The Eye of Destruction comes on through into an Arcane Pulse. No, it responds with a little bit of damage, but it's still going to be down that summoner.
Yes, and it's very important to remember because right now Verdant can look for an opportunity to go onto this mid lane again. Norway is still standing on a little... he's constantly staying on a very little mana on his lane. Now he has to play extra careful because at any moment, No Name can come back, go on to Norway and help Ronaldo secure a kill. Gosh, I just realized that's another time we're seeing No Name and Norway in the same game. That's confusing, but I like it this way.
And we're going to wait on a know-how and a know-where, perhaps for another time. But for now... the location, it's the NLC. You've been tuning in to very spicy day of playoffs. NORD and Los Ratones, the 2 heavyweight options that people are expecting to make short work of their oppositions on paper. Bulldogs were brought to heel, all puns intended, down in the lower bracket now. Verdant, they offered a little bit more fight. NORD, 2 games, were actually matched pretty well in the early game. They came out well ahead in the mid game of game 1, but game 2, my days, Verdant, with the Twitch comp, ran away with it in the end. Every objective they cared for, aside from a single grub. That's all that Nord found in that one. Megadar coming through, Papatiro. Also hook shot out. Running the shy skin there, I see you. Trying to emulate one of the greatest to ever touch that champion.
I'm just thinking, remember there was the time when we saw a lot of Camille on the top lane, when she was such a high priority. And then came the changes to the map, right? When the top lane became a little bit wider, and Camille suddenly realized that when she gets to the middle of the lane or a little bit further, she's far away from any walls and she cannot jump away from anything trying to get on her and kill her. So now, for example, it was like at the very edge of that jump for Vizichachi that he went away from Puppeteer when he went into the Mega Gnat form. But yeah, for Vizichachi, it's harder to play Camille these days in the top lane compared to the good old days how it used to be. But now
she's been nerfed a fair amount. There was a point where she was able to have a lot of laning matchups where she was pretty good early game. These days, it feels like her early lane is a lot more volatile.
Yeah.
Things like Renekton, no longer quite the skill matchup they once were. Grubs, started by Verdant, they've claimed one already. Big chunk beginning to come on through from nowhere. He's in a good position to potentially lock down the ult. Nice Glacial Prison, but the Arcane Pulse just waits out. Flash engage though, and the encore goes wide on the other side. The song just doesn't land. It's not doing very well in the charts. A little bit of help with those notes. Doing some well. Mishi eats the right of the Arcane. Season 2 coming to you on the red side of the map, apparently.
I just wonder what could have happened if not pressed all those ultimates at the same time. Imagine what could have been.
Yeah.
Imagine the follow-up to Santorin's ultimate. Imagine Trades going in a little bit earlier. Imagine No Way going into the ultimate a little bit earlier. This, yes, they've got something out of this fight, but they gave away the grubbies, and it just could have been played so much better. I understand the undecisiveness here because Puppeteer is in the Mega Gnat form, and it's really hard to fight with him in this Pete spot.
The freeze frame? No way.
It's a good one, though.
Just out of range. Imagine that landed a bit early, would have been really nice. Still, we come away. Nord get a kill. Don't get that second set of grubs, which is a bit frustrating. But hey, a kill for the grubs. Verdant, I'm mostly okay with that. Denies them from Camille in particular, which would have been a real threat later on into the game. And both Gnar and Camille value having some grubs, gives them that opportunity to play out those side lanes.
Yeah.
For those structures a little bit more freely. First item's beginning to get completed. Heartsteel done for Sejuani. Luden's in for no way on the Xerath. Everyone else perhaps stopped off for boots and stuff, has kept them away from completing those first items, but shouldn't be too far away from those coming on through.
Also Thunder Sky for no name, so yes, no massive spikes or just any big spikes we're seeing anywhere across the map. But those items are slowly but surely starting to get in. Probably the bot lane of NORD is looking to get itemized sooner than later as well. Yes, for now, we have the dragon on the map. With a recall from NORD, it's an opportunity for Verdant to try to push in a little bit, but no real opening to go for the second dragon of the game and the second dragon for the team at the time being. As I say that, actually, no name is looking towards this dragon. They're moving. I love that. You know what? I expected they would just shove in the mid lane and stay around.
Paptiro.
Yeah.
Mega Gnar's timing out. How aggressively do they want to play this? They've got a Hextech ultimatum and a Dream, waiting for this next play. They know the dragon's going down to the other side. Hookshot comes on through, away to the other side as Chachi's going to start proxying. Do they want to look to defend this? Orianna roaming, but so is the Xerath. Reminder, with the right of the Arcane, it is very easy to join in on a dive between that Hextech ultimatum, between that Glacial Prison. There we go. Ult summoned on in. The Mortar has a very easy target, and Camille, Precision Protocols Part 2, secured the mini Gnar kill.
It was slow, but in the end the payoff is big, and it was calculated rather well because they were locking Paptiro down under the turret. First you wait until the Mega Gnar form is out, of course, because you don't want to be fighting that. Then you remove the wave because otherwise the little Gnar can do the double hop and get away from you into the safety, and then you bring in the Xerath.
Red buff secured. Last cone just about gets no name out, and that's the trade for that top lane play. Invade onto the Raptors, invade onto the red buff. Get the dragon as well, and the individual strength of No Name gets a little stronger. I'm sure it'll be quite worth giving Camille a kill, some gold, a denied wave, especially when that Camille is going to be a core part of how this composition wants to play. Gage now from Treats, Glacial Prism follows, the encore buys the time with a cleanse, means that Mishy's still likely dead to right. Over the wall they go, the battle landscape's going on forwards, No Name gets a 3 Talon Strike knockup, but the Permafrost is dead, look who's teleported in! It's Chachi, flying in on a Wings of Thunder and a pair of steel wires. As the Scissor Legs help get an additional kill for X-Matty. 2-0 now on the Xayah, and 0-3 is his Ashe. Mishy is a bit squishy.
A bit, you would say. I would say quite a lot, to be honest. And with Ashe, you can always rotate her to be a utilitarian champion just to work around her arrow and the slow. But here, if she goes that way, who else is going to be the main damage dealer in the team? Because for Orianna, it's Paptiro.
Did Pappy get a solo? He did.
He didn't get it. What?
Just dove onto the Xerath under the turret. Will likely die now to Chachi. So I'll note, the Xerath had just picked up a Medjais, by the way. Just loses them all. That's a bit awkward.
That's the curse of Medjais.
Second kill. Yeah. Second kill to the Camille. Paptiro, no flash, no teleport. Chachi can start to really look towards that top lane tier 1. Already got the turret down bot side. They've got the first 3 kills, so the feats of strength are null. We'll have a look at this replay now, because Paptiro just jumps. And goodbye goes the Xerath.
Xerath did use the flash in this exchange, right? Because he's getting locked right next to the wall. He's flashing away, but Paptiro has a flash of his own and enough health to survive 2 turret shots. Very cleanly executed. Dies afterwards, but hey, he secured a kill on the enemy mid laner.
Man, if that Eye of Destruction had landed and gave the slow as well, I think a second turret shot comes through and that's a dead Gnar. Still was a dead Gnar, but doesn't lead to quite what they were hoping for. Ronaldo will trade out the top lane turret for the bot lane, but it's still more gold going towards this Camille, who's now ahead of the curve. And a very, very scary spot. Feels like NORD now in pretty strong command of this game. The early dragons are Verdant's, but NORD now onto this Herald. Pick that one up and probably use it as a bit of a counterweight. Help shove into this tier 1 in mid lane and help set up pressure for when that dragon comes on through as an arrow goes wide of no way. Who's having a number of people enter his lane and this bot lane.
Understandably so. It's rather the opposite way, to be honest. No way had to go to the bot lane to stop Ronaldo from pushing the bot lane non-stop. And then it was just a little bit of Verdant looking if maybe, you know, we can have a little bit of action around the Noe. But that's the beauty of the Ash Arrow. If it hits, you go in. If it doesn't, well, the cooldown is so small, you haven't really lost anything. You go on with your life and everybody else does so. For NORD, however, so they're having a Herald right now, and on top of that, finally, we're talking about the Triforce completed for Camille. This is the side lane Camille that you want to see. This is now becoming a problem for Verdant because they need to rotate someone constantly to stop Vizichachi from side pushing because Camille is getting through his side lanes very quickly if you don't stop her. And it's not easy to stop her when she's on Triforce and has ulti available.
That they do. And again, Chachi, famously known for things like the NORD, the Shen, the Poppy top, right? Those were his champions. But he's always been a player with quite a lot of versatility too. He's played a few Rise games tops, got the Gwen, the Aurelia, Kennen a pocket pick for him, and the Camille right up there. I think he is, what, 6-5 all time, so just about a positive win rate. Bit of an engage going on as the screen blacks out to prevent our eyes from seeing death of another member. I think everyone just about stays alive afterwards. Not quite sure what was blown. We'll have to check in afterwards. Papatiro trading onto this tier 2, but a teleport in from Chachi. Goes for a tactical sweep. And in we go on the other side as no name. Yeah, Mishi did die. There we go. Took a second for the scoreboard to update. Thank you very much.
Wait, that's actually big. Oh, wait, Vizichachi doesn't die now.
He doesn't have Hextech ultimate, but Pappy's got to be careful. There'll be another precision protocol going through. Where's the passive? Needs to get the shield. Doesn't quite have it. Oh, no. Close, close, close. Trying to play around the mini now coming through, and Papatiro gets the 1v1. That'll probably be tier 2 as well.
Ixmari died in the meantime as well. Oh my
what?
god,
Yeah,
what is happening in this game all of a sudden? And now Papatiro is probably gonna die.
Going to be in danger. Tries to play around. The Rite of the Arcane is summoned, and Santorin gets it. Gives an assist, I think, over to No Way. Tier 1 mid did fall with the help of the Herald. No name, though, and Verdant gets Soul Point off the madness in top, in mid. Get themselves to Soul Point. Fortunately for them, it is the Chem Soul. Probably not the most valuable of all time, but hey, we'll take what you can get. The extra tenacity, honestly, into a fair amount of CC. Not to be slept on.
No, you take that and you say thank you.
Well, hang on. Recalling on the ward of Sonatus. Backs away. It's going to be fine.
So, thank you very much. We're going into the replays because that's rather important. I wonder what went wrong here because Mishi did die on the mid lane, and that in theory should allow NORD to go and look for the play around the dragon. So they go in, Vizichachi! The ultimate from Sejuani that went completely wide there. So they take one of the enemies out of that. They go back, but Santorin is very low. And on top of that, there is the Na on their top lane that they need to urgently take care of. So they rotate to Vizichachi there. And after that, everything goes down. I still wonder how Ixmari went down. But basically...
he was shoved up to tier 2. He was shoved up to tier 2 bot. So I'm assuming what happens is the mid lane plays and he gets collapsed on, isn't quite quick enough on the retreat. Would be my assumption.
I think it's safe to assume that. Yeah, I just wonder what exactly went wrong there and why he was there in the first place, because clearly NORD were not going to play towards the dragon anymore with Santorin almost down with Vizichachi on the top lane.
Thank you very much, production.
Why are we so deep into the enemy territory with no auto turret and no help? Questions not to be answered this time apparently, but we're just keeping them on the back of our mind.
The gold lead is there for NORD. Problem is, the rest of the game a bit trickier. Nice dash away from Papatiro with the hop, but the problem is in comes Treat with the quickness. Papatiro flashes away from the grand entrance, going to try and get in range for that charm. Can't quite find it, but hookshot's back off cooldown into the Hextech ultimatum. Will likely die, but Atakan is up, is available, and there's 3 members down here. No teleport on Chachi. I think they've just given this one up for free.
Why? Why are we doing that? Why are we chasing her?
Right of the Arcane, there's a redemption for some heal, and they're going to try and trade for the tier 2 in mid lane at least. How much value do Verdant get out of the Atakan? Because they are going to get it. And NORD take too long to kill the Gnar, and they lead them on a merry chase with the Yakety Sax playing in the background. They get Atakan on 4 members, and Papatiro will spawn and have that withdrawal available to him too.
Okay, we're rotating around with the arrow on the bot lane, but it's not going to hit Vizichachi, unfortunately, so no engage available for Ronaldo. But, so, there is no big objective right now for Verdant to fight for with their withdrawals. Dragon is still 2.5 minutes away from us, and the Baron is only going to spawn in, like, what, 4 minutes from now? So what do? there is still a lot of pressure from NORD on the side lanes, on the top lane, on the bot lane, thanks to Vizicachi mostly, of course. There is something that Verdant have to be fighting right now. I'm looking at the mid lane. That is the only place where there is still an auto turret available for the NORD side. It would make so much sense if Verdant decided to go and take care of it right now, and it would be a good use for their withdrawals. It's not much that you're getting. Usually we see a much bigger payout, after the Articon, but it's at least gonna be something.
I mean, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm looking about it, the more I feel like actually the Atacama might not end up being all that valuable as you're saying, and actually NORD maybe we're okay in the decision making because they get the tier 2 mid lane while that's happening, and they kill off Papatera, and they get another kill onto Vizicachi, who then shoves up to tier 2 and forces these waves out. Like, you've got these withdrawals, but does it actually change all that much in the grand scheme of things? Gonna look for a bit of an engage down here. There'll be Permafrost available. Redemption comes on through, but there's the Hextech Ultimatum. Precision Protocol Type 2 will be available. Matty here as well. Crescent Guard comes on through. Hookshot comes on down as well. Arrow just wide. No Robin Hoods today as Ronaldo has got over the wall here. Still got withdrawals to play with, remember. Permafrost lands. Matty up into the air. The encore. Won't get that much. Withdrawal part 1. Big Megadar into the wall. Still secures the bird, though, who is no longer the word except for maybe dead. Maybe that's the word that is the bird. They back away. 1 for 0.5, maybe. Start shoving up towards this tier 2, and they will likely claim it with the advantage of map pressure they have.
And they still have the withdrawals available, so they can go back, they can decide to do something else on the map. Maybe the timer is there actually for the drag. Oh, wait.
Hang on. They know. Wide of the Arcane. Backs away, but that's still a lot of low health bars. Getting a fair amount of a chunk. The surround sound comes on through. In comes Chachi, looking to back away. How do they want to play this? Miss-sheet, flash, cleanse. No Hextech Ultimatum quite yet. Where's the rest of the team? Flash on forward, gets the slows with the approach velocity, beginning to run on forward. Santorin now around, throws out the Glacial player. Doing some work. And big charge forward. Mishi gets another huge shield. Command Protect combined with the surround sound is good. Chachi flashes over the wall. NORD bite off a little more than they can chew, but aren't fully punished for it.
Oh, they were buying time. They were buying time with this move. I actually liked it quite a lot for them because they are cutting down the time that is available for Verdant on their
Dragon spawns,
withdrawals. And yes, exactly. Right now the Dragon spawns, and there is still a stall point for Verdant, and NORD are the first ones at this Dragon. Verdant are losing the soul. And again, not a very massive soul, as you said, but it's still something taken away from Verdant by NORD.
Delays the recalls long enough that, despite it looking a little dicey, they actually end up getting better map control off it. Arrow lands, but it's on to Treats. We'll have a second balance at Battlelands. Backs away, but the slow comes on through. Matty in danger, trying to run away, does not have the ult until 3 seconds with the Mega Blast Cone. Gets him away to safety. Turns out Xayah really can fly. Still actually dies regardless, despite the blast going out. I take that away. It was Treats who ran off with that one, and they did pick up the kill. You think I'd get better at reading the game at this point, but guys, it's getting late. What can I say? Papatero looking for an angle. No way now, in danger. Needs to run away. Audacious charge forwards. No name about to fall. 30 seconds until Baron, and you've lost your mid and bot laner. That's gonna potentially be dicey.
And your mid lane turret, it finally goes down. And Ronaldo is pushing in the bot lane, trying to seize this turret. They finally have the gold lead. Exactly. It's not big, eh? We've seen much bigger gold leads, let's be fair.
200 gold.
It's not the amount of gold that matters. It's just the fact that it's there. That finally Verdant have managed to find a good fight and have managed to find good footing in the game. So what exactly was wrong here? A lot of things, actually. With the Treats getting caught out, it was just not the place for NORD to take the fight. They've got on the Dragon. You need to get out of it as soon as possible. But Verdant are quick enough from their recalls a little bit earlier.
In the air. I was like, oh, I thought Matty got out with the blast go, and he kind of did for like 2 seconds before he was like shot.
Yeah. I mean,
heartlessly out of the air.
Xayah can fly, but for a very limited amount of time. And they get no way after that. Now, that's a very good fight for Verdant because they get a lot of value out of it. Ironically,
yes,
they get much more value from losing the Dragon Soul compared to getting Atacon a little bit earlier.
Now they're in a position where this Ashe, 2 items a bit more valuable. The lead that the Camille had, kind of dissuaded by the fact that Papatero has now picked up a few kills of his own. There's Orianna, Death Cap following the Serath. No way, no! Arrow follows, hits! Serath surely dead to right. He's going to try and get some more damage. Can't quite follow it up. They get a bit of a pullback, even with the shockwave. Not enough for the turnaround. Leads to the death of the jungler. They thought they got the pick, and now Chachi with the Hextech Ultimatum sends them all to jail. Matty gets Mishi, and now jungler dead. AD carry dead. Baron up, and the pick was all a bait. No way. Dangles himself as bait and swiftly swiftly punishes with the rest of his team.
T-Row on the bot lane in the meantime. Look at that little knot. Look at what he's doing. He's pushing into the base, but Vizichachi is here to stop him.
No, he's behind as well. I don't think this is quite as even as Tira would like. All the while, Baron's going down, no real contest. The rest of Verdant had rotated down to try and make that split push play. But it's well denied from Nord. They pick up the Baron. And it looked so good, but they couldn't finish this job.
No, they couldn't. There was no way that Norway was surviving that. It is absolutely illegal that he survived and that no one managed to turn that around. But it was really good reaction time from Centurion, jumping in immediately. From Trades a little bit earlier as well, just making sure that he jumps onto Norway, jumps onto the enemies after that. It's just... all the ultimates were available for NORD, and that is basically what saved Norway. That and the fact that Treats was around and Centurion was very close by to follow up. And then, once they turn this around, once they manage to save Norway and they have a good opening onto the Verdant, that's when Vizichachi comes in, and after that, you know how this ends. After he locks somebody down in the barrel, how did he call it? Shooting fish in a barrel. That's exactly what Norway did.
Yeah, turns out it's ice fishing if it's an Ashe. Dies again, 1, 5, and 2. This Ashe has just struggled desperately to find somewhere safe to be, and there is so much dive. There is so much access to this Ashe. Flash on forward for Santorin as the permafrost building. It's a 1v1 for a moment, but look who else is here to join the party. It's Camille. The two most veteran members of this squad come together to make sure that the Orianna dies. Sejuani plus melee carry is a tale as old as those two. As that combo's been available. Sejuani got reworked a little while ago, away from being a pure ult bot, but it still feels like the permafrost is pretty damn nasty when you have people like Camille to back it up.
It absolutely is. And there is not much you can do if you are an immobile, squishy mid lane mage caught between these two. And now it allows for Nord to push a little bit further. It allows them to buy more time because there is a dragon coming up in 35 seconds from now, which could still be a soul for Verdant, but now with the mid lane destroyed, with the bot lane not available for them to match as well, not really realistic for them to go for this dragon. Speaking of the bot lane, by the way, Puppeteer is constantly on this bot lane. He really has a beef with that turret on the bot lane, with a base turret from Nord on the bot lane. He really wants to get to it and prove something to it. I don't know what, but it actually makes Nord rotate constantly to this bot side of the map, which slows them down a lot.
EPM. The wave comes on over. Dragon spawns in 5 seconds. Only the second for Nord, so Verdant don't have to fight it, but maybe feel like they have to watch Treats on the side. Quickness, grand entrance, flash on in for the top laner as well. Hex Tech Ultimatum is a statement that says Ashe does not get to live any longer. The Queen of the Freljord is the recipient of some regicide. A double kill to Chachi, 6, 1, and 4. Who says he can't play a carry?
When they go in, if they have enough audacity, they could actually try to finish the game here. They have the wave going through the mid lane. Another one is closing in as well. This looks insanely good for Nord.
Glacial Prison lands, hook shot follows. Obstinates is dead to rights. 4 dead, Papatiro alone remains. And Nord have signed themselves onto a contract that says we face off against Los Ratones in the upper bracket finals. Verdant tried, Verdant push, Verdant fail.
Yes, they did have a really good game number 2 in today's series, but unfortunately in game number 3, Nord were just a little bit stronger. And if there's one thing that Verdant really wanted from their enemies in this last game, is for them to engage onto them into a very straight line, into a very straight order, just into the ultimate of Seraphine, into the Ashe Arrow, into Xin Zhao. What did Nord do? They said, hey, we have Vizichachi and we have Treats. And they don't care about engaging in a straight line. They're gonna find those flank angles onto you and destroy you in every fight that they find.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be an interesting one because we know it's the expected result in terms of the teams that are going to this upper bracket fight.
Yeah.
It is Nord, it is Los Ratones. That is not necessarily a surprise, but I think the manner in which they got there is quite different. Los Ratones manhandled Bulldogs. It was not close. Both games were very, very stompy. This series, 2-1, it felt like Verdant were a bit more evenly matched. They did actually manage to stretch Nord. They got a gold lead in this game. They did get to Soul Point. There were moments where you began to wonder, could we play this despite the Ashe being in a difficult position? And that makes me a little nervous for Nord going up against Los Ratones and how dominant they were in their series.
We'll have to see, because it's going to be a very nice Valentine's Day date for both of them in the upper bracket finals. Very soon, actually, tomorrow. That's happening tomorrow. Imagine that. But for now, yeah, this is going to be Verdant going into the lower bracket. They did not go down there without a fight, that's for sure. Game number 2, game number 3 looked really good for them. Looked suspicious for NORD, but it is what it is. Yet again, for the second game in a row, whoever is stronger, whoever has more experience and more ideas in the game, wins.
The expected result, perhaps not the manner, though, in which we got there. Desk, take it away. Break down the day for us, will ya?
A win is a win. 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 But I understand their point. I understand their point 100%. And on the interview, I'm going to ask that. I want to know more. But before we go into the interview, we need to talk about this game. Because it was slightly going towards Verdant. And then there was a switcheroo. We were talking about, hey, Verdant actually pulled this off. And NORD got the win at the end. So it was not comfortable towards any of the sides, correct?
Yeah. Go ahead, Trouble. Oh, we're just so we're both so kind. Yeah, I mean this was a very again we've had a very strange set of series throughout this this evening. This though I think was a lot more about NORD's actual ability to find like clean engages through Sejuani and through Rakan at the same time, whilst trying to make sure that they had Camille actually synced up with a lot of this, right? They had the backline damage, they had the Xerath to really make work of it. It was about actually getting there, and it was kind of the early game where it felt like Verdant just had a little bit more of a cleaner understanding at the time of how they could skirmish and where they could skirmish, whilst NORD's kind of rotations and I think their choices of when to fight were kind of a little bit off.
It's going to be a bit of a difficult composition to play around if Verdant end up scaling into that late game with the Seraphine, the Ashe, the Xin. However, I feel like NORD split apart the team fights so well in the way that they played around Chachi, in the way that Chachi was finding the flanks, finding the backline. And I feel like Obstinatus did not necessarily have a lot of cases where it was just an easy Seraphine ult to hit 5 people, because I feel like they played so well around not getting 5-man ulted by the Seraphine. And I feel that speaks miles, even though hard game, lots of back and forths. I feel like when it comes to these executions, when it comes to these team fights, the experience coming through from NORD and their players is just showing.
I respect 100% and I agree. And even on item spikes, I was wondering like, why is Verdant taking this fight when they don't have those specific items? And this is another one. I think this is a big one because no one gets caught and then translates.
Yeah, this is about like the response. This is like later on in the game where finally we kind of start to see things go the way of NORD. This case, you know, it was Verdant looking for a bit of a half-hearted Ashe Arrow pick onto No Way. But these are the kind of things that NORD usually are pretty good at, capitalizing sometimes. I'll say usually, sometimes is probably a little bit more apt on an individual getting caught out, right? Whether it's Maya, whether it's No Way, and turning that into a good fight, flipping it into a good fight. I will say, I think I can probably be a little bit more critical of Verdant in this case, because it got to a point where it felt as though they didn't really believe in their ability to out-team fight the NORD composition, and they tried to transition it into picks, but constantly what we ended up seeing was NORD being there on time for the rotations, right? To again capitalize on some minor mispositionings on their part. So at that point, is it even really as big a misposition as it initially turns out to look to be? Yeah, I just feel like NORD came in with a slightly cleaner game plan, whereas Verdant were kind of relying a lot more on their scaling that weirdly they just don't really end up getting to have, because Camille's going to outscale on the side lane, and front to back they just don't really get to win because the dive is just far superior on the side of NORD.
And when you look into those fights, don't you agree like Verdant had the game in a couple of moments? There were definitely a couple of moments where Verdant could take a lead, a significant lead, right?
I feel like they were not necessarily on the same page when it came to team fights. I feel like when you play in a Seraphim comp, you need to play very tightly packed together, and it has to be a proper 5 versus 5. Seraphim thrives at fighting through choke points, and again, NORD chose the perfect position. Look at that. Treats is coming from the right side, Chachi is coming from Fog of War on the left side, and the rest of 3 members are dead smack in the middle. I feel like all of these angles being thrown at Verdant is just so hard to deal with, and I feel like all the way till the end, they just could not become that ball of death that Seraphim keeps alive later on in the game. I feel like had they been all as one through a choke point, we would have been talking about a completely different team fight.
I agree. With that in mind, they move on into tomorrow's match. It's going to be 1 versus Los Ratones. We get the damage graph. I also was under the impression like Ronaldo on this matchup, I think he was a little bit blank regarding to what we've seen before, and he's so well spoken when he gets into the rift. Like, he likes to be seen. The name also helps on this performance, and I think today it was a little bit a shadow of himself. So maybe, but who knows, they still have another shot going into the lower bracket, and eventually we're going to be looking into the lower bracket. Tell me, Jamana, you want to say something?
Much
I
like
know
the
it.
real Ronaldo, he is a very he's a on your day adore player.
He's
minute, you know?
he's Portuguese. I'm just saying. I think you need to be careful here. I'm saying.
You know
Basil?
I'll be with you on Nottingham, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
No, we're going gym together, don't you? know that.
I think you should throw it to the interview, bro.
No, I'm not. Oh, it is ready. It is ready. Let's talk to the interview. Treats is waiting for us. Welcome back into the interview, Treats. And we got a lot to talk, man. We
do.
Okay, be honest. It was a dangerous series, wasn't it?
It was dangerous. I mean, after the second game, it started getting a bit sweaty. But we are a content team, you know, so we have to kind of go for the content route. Game 3 was pretty sweaty as well, I would have to say. But I'm really happy that we came out in the end. I felt honestly very comfortable even after Game 2 that we would win. And I think that mattered a lot for the last one.
Tell me something. I've heard this before from someone at NORD. I don't know who, but someone told me we are a content team, but we are secretly trying to try hard. I don't know who told me that one. So
it must be a smart person that said that. Yeah, I mean, the last game was honestly kind of a good representation of that. I think, like once it's kind of the do or die point in the series, we have to turn our brains on a little bit more than the second game. So happy we did that. Happy we got some clean team fights in the end. But yeah, it was a bit of a back and forth.
So yeah, that heartache is out of the way. Let's talk about the date for tomorrow, Valentine's with Los Ratones. How are you feeling about this date?
Date with Reckless on Valentine's? Wow, I'm so lucky, no? No, but it will be really fun to play Los Ratones. We scrimmed them a lot in the early season, but obviously we're kind of expecting to face each other, so we haven't kind of played each other in a while, so it will be fun to see the growth that we've made, because I think we showed that somewhat today. We also showed kind of some of our weaknesses, I guess. But they're a very solid team, so it will be a very hype matchup for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna make a weird question for you. If you could give a rose to one member of Los Ratones in the shape of a fighting game, who would you give a rose?
I mean, I know Martin the best, right? So, like, obviously it would be Reckless, yeah. It would have to. There's no other choice.
It doesn't count. It can't be your friend, Treats.
It's Baus because he's Swedish.
That's
Baus because he's Swedish.
Okay, it's Baus because he's Swedish.
Yeah.
Treble thought she was muted.
That's so funny.
Or she can join too.
I didn't think I was muted. I was calling him out.
The voices in my head, Treats. I don't know.
They're speaking.
It's getting bigger.
They're yelling at me.
So, okay. If there's a way for you to tell me a score tomorrow, which is going to be really interesting, regardless of what it is, it decides the first team going into finals. Give me that sweet score.
I mean, it's best of 5 Fearless against Los Ratones. I don't know if I can think of a more Clown Fiesta game than that, so I'm going to say 3-2 to us.
Love it. It's the content team. It's the content. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, they're like the public tryhard team, kind of like fun team, and we're the sneaky one, so let's see which one is more powerful.
Let's see which one is more powerful. I love it. Treats, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Have a lovely one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Very real interview.
The voices.
I wasn't even trying, okay, me and Treats are friends, so I'm like, you cannot give that one to your friend, buddy. You gotta choose someone else.
Oh, it's so lovely to get these interviews as well, and I respect and I understand. But when we look into these cities, and you look into Los Ratones and the way they got here, as Initialize was stating, I think it's night and day.
Perhaps. It might be.
Oh,
it might
perhaps. Yeah.
Maybe
they're hiding. Yeah.
But look, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think that you know, to kind of draw on what Therese was talking about, that air of growth, I think has definitely been present for NORD, but I think it's been even more present for Los Ratones, and that's where I kind of get a little bit concerned for NORD, because to me, I think that the marked improvement is so clear for Los Ratones that going into prep, if I'm NORD, I don't even know where really to begin, because I think there are very clear issues that can't be fixed overnight at the minute still for NORD, right? The mispositionings of Matty and Noe, I think, are still something that are relatively present inside of their gameplay right now. I think that their early games still leave a little bit to be desired, generally, and I think that's a place where, if today's series is anything to go by, Los Ratones are going to very immediately and very quickly abuse, so I hope that whatever team talks go on tonight, you know, maybe a pre-game, you know, kind of soft, maybe best of 3 or something, scrim set prior to their actual matches during the day, I hope that they can clean those issues up, because I still see Los Ratones as a relatively big favorite moving into this series. As much as I want to say that NORD will be competitive, I still kind of, yeah, it's hard for me to be not confident, but saying whether they'll take one game at the minute out of a best of 5, I think is kind of the line at the minute, and that will be more on Los Ratones than it will be NORD.
Okay. Oh, that's big. That's a good statement. Trouble. Do you agree, or do you have any hot takes?
I don't think it's a hot take. I kind of just want to say it as it is. I feel like Noe might struggle into Nemesis tomorrow. I feel like he's kind of been the weak point. Also, the positioning of Xmati at certain points, and I feel like Crowny has been on point, and Nemesis, like you saw, man, the Aurora versus Orianna, he just made it look like the biggest opposition of all time. He made it look like Orianna is the raid boss of Aurora for some reason. People will actually be counter-picking Aurora with Orianna in solo queue the way Nemesis made it look. So these are the two things that I'm worried about. But again, with a very clear plan, like Jamada said, in a clear head going into a best of 5 series tomorrow, knowing that you can actually drop 2 games and come back, it could be a completely different story.
I'm actually excited for tomorrow's matchup. I think it's going to be a lovely one. It's also Valentine's, and I'm happy to spend it with you, Jamada, by the way. There you go, February 14, Los Ratones versus NORD, the top of the bracket, and it's Group A. If you look into the bottom of the bracket, you know that next week we'll be having Redisek versus Bulldog, which is kind of interesting, by the way, because that was the beginning of the upper bracket. On the bottom, it's going to be Rich Gang versus Verdant.
It's just straight up. It's just straight up rematches. Yeah, it's straight up rematches. Yeah, they've gone through their respective matchups, and unfortunately, the Verdant Bulldog get knocked down into the same matchup. So we'll see how they end up handling the best of 5 now. Right, no longer best of 3. That fearless champion pool is going to get tested quite heavily.
History writes itself. Anything we would like to add before we wrap up for tonight?
Thank you to anyone who's watching, spamming the chat, being kind and supportive to the teams. I think it's been a wild ride so far, so thank you for supporting the NLC and keep doing so.
Yeah, what Trouble said. That's it.
Times 2.
Nothing more.
Just ruins the mood. I don't know. It's a talent. It's a gift. With that in mind, it's a gift to have you with us through all these productions and all these days. And we'll be waiting for you tomorrow, Valentine's Days. And I'm going to say it again. Without you, it's not the same. It's not even funny. Until then, keep climbing. And I'll see you soon. Have a lovely night.